If you come at these kings, you best not miss. Shout out to Gabe, man. Y'all know what it is.
Yes, sir.
Back
Out of the gate.
like cook crack. Obviously down one member, but it's all good. We're going to run a 3-man game tonight because there's so much to talk about. We couldn't go a whole nother week, man, without getting to the people, man. We missed y'all. I missed y'all too, man. I missed the fellas, man.
Same.
Good to see y'all. Glad everybody's doing well. And we looking forward to having Rio join us next week and be once again whole as the Commander Kings. But so much to get to on tonight's show. Last time we spoke, we had just hired Daronte Jones. We were waiting on a press conference, and we finally got it. Dan Quinn spoke for over 30 minutes. Daronte Jones spoke for 27, and David Blough spoke for just under 22. So they all had a lot to say. I think we are going to start with the coordinators and what they had to say, if anything kind of jumped off the screen. So before we get into the particulars of what was said, I want to ask y'all, what were your impressions of the two coordinators, listening to them speak? What was your feeling afterwards? And did you, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to come clean. I've already injected hopium. All right, they got me, man. They got me. I was trying to remain reserved and like I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe this time. I've already gone through the sermons of Eric Bieniemy once upon a time, and you know, Joe Witt Jr. coming in here. How we live is not for everybody and all that. But this wasn't rah-rah, right? This wasn't your customary, you know, speech where you're trying to hype people up. This was dudes like giving us the reels. And I've been watching every single piece of content with these dudes in it the last 24 hours. So
Yep.
They won me over, man. What were you guys' first reactions, your initial reactions to the press conferences?
Well, I mean, I'm the same way. I was like, please don't get overly excited.
Yeah.
You know, don't set yourself up for another heartbreak. But I mean, I just can't help it. Cause see your point, like even the fact that Daronte Jones even said it, like I'm not here for buzzwords. I'm here to like get stuff done. Yep. Like he didn't come in and try to like win the fans or anything to get us hype. He came in and said straight up what they plan on doing. And I just love how detailed they were. They were very detailed. Like specifically, we're gonna do this, and because you know maybe our roster isn't there yet, maybe we can adjust it and do it slightly different and things like that. So they all sounded really good. Of course, what actually happens on the field is what matters the most, but I mean, that was as good as it could go. It could have gone on either side, especially to your point, trying to consume as much content as we can from them, David Blough being on the Grant and Danny show, Daronte Jones and David Blough being like on the Bryant Colbert interviews afterwards and things like every piece of content possible. It's been amazing. And with every video, I get more excited. I can't help it.
What about you, Ed?
My bad, I had to click off mute. But yeah, no, the comments are hilarious, man.
We already seen that.
We're on CP time, but we're here, y'all. We're here.
Better late than never, man.
Right. No, for me, Daronte Jones, he definitely made it a point not to have any bulletin point material or any T-shirt sayings or things like Joe Witt Jr. was saying. Scott Abraham tried his best to
try to get one out of him. Yep.
Yeah, he tried to get some stuff out of him, like T-shirt sayings and whatnot. But I think he made a point in not doing that. But yeah, no, everything they said was calculated. You know, David Blough, he's more of a reserve guy, so you're not gonna really get much out of him. Same thing with Daronte Jones. You heard his story about sleeping in the car multiple times and whatnot. The whole, you know, it's not where you line up, it's where you wind up. That was probably the most T-shirt, bulletin board material thing. So, of course, the whole young and athletic thing was the biggest thing, or the biggest thing, the eye raiser. But I mean, maybe he does see something in the guys that we have in the building. that's what you're supposed to say. You're not going to be like Adam Peters when Adam Peters had his opening presser and Adam Peters was silent for a good 5 seconds before he answered the question about the guys that were here.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I like what I heard from Daronte. I like what I heard from David Blough. I know we'll get into the whole under center thing, so they definitely expressed that a lot between him and Dan. But no, they sound like two guys that are ready to go, calculate. But once again, I just can't get too excited because of the trauma from Joe Witt Jr. getting an A+ on his presser. Eric Bieniemy got an A++ on his presser. We've seen a bunch of A++ pressers, so I can't get my hope up, but it does bring a lot of optimism that you got two guys that are first time NFL coordinators, but they sound like they both have legitimate plans for the offense and the defense.
I was really impressed with Daronte Jones's demeanor. I had already known about him, having consumed a ton of the content that was out on the interweb before his press conference, but just listening to him talk specifically with our media, and to Rico's point, not falling for the bait in the banana in the tailpipe. They, asking him for a buzzword is so cheesy, but Scott Abraham, that's right up his alley, right? Looking for something like that. And he just was like, nah, I'll give you joy, right? Which was something different that you would normally get. And it was like that, his whole psychology background, like the whole IEP thing blew me away, right? Because if you are in the educational field, you know what an IEP is, but it's usually carries a negative connotation. In this particular case and instance, it was like it's warranted because our guys need individual plans as to how they can be utilized the best. And I think that's pretty cool that Dan Quinn had him assess the entire defensive roster basically and kind of give him his thoughts on what these guys he thought they were capable of. And the most eyebrow-raising thing, to Ed's point, was definitely the whole young and athletic comment. Now, to his point, right, every guy he named is an actual freak athlete, as you guys would say, right? They technically, like, Tyler Owens is a freak athlete, right? Will Harris is a tremendous athlete. Trey Amos is a great athlete.
Jordan McGee
is a tremendous athlete. Like, he even named Kane Madrano. We know he's an athlete, if nothing else, right? So, like, it's not like he named somebody that we was like, wait, whoa, who? He named all the dudes that are actually tremendous athletes. Like, Jartavius Martin is a really good athlete. You can say what you want about him and his play, but he tested extremely well, which is why he ended up being a second-round pick. So he didn't say anything wrong there. It's just we were all like, bro, have you watched them play? Like, there's no salvaging Jartavius Martin. He's gone already. But he's like, nah, I might be able to fix him. I got this IEP with his name on it. I'm going to put together a plan for him to figure out how he learns best and how we can best utilize him. And maybe he's not going to be washed here. But it was definitely a press conference that I walked away super impressed. And not because of all of the rah-rah stuff that we normally get and that hypes us up for a press conference. David Blough, what were your initial impressions of him in particular? Because we've seen him before, we've heard from him before, but not in this particular way. Did he give you the sense, did he say anything that made you feel like, oh, he gets it?
Man, there were a few things. I'm not going to steal them all, but of course, first of all, I mean, he's very adamant about making sure we play under center and run play action. like you could tell that was a point of emphasis from Dan Quinn, from Adam Peters. Remember the end of the year press conference, Adam Peters said, we got to do whatever we got to do to protect Jaden Daniels. And that's not even just on the offensive side of the ball. We got to get him a better defense to where he's not having to do as much superhero stuff on offense and things like that. So it sounds like the offense is definitely going to lean more towards like a Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson, this offense with some Shanahan elements to it. But it's not going to be very Cliff Kingsbury air raid at all. It doesn't sound like it sounds like Dan Quinn wants to get away from that, the entire organization, and David Blough fully understands that. I think that was like a clear goal of theirs, and you could tell like the whole Cliff Kingsbury situation, that was probably them mutually splitting ways. I don't think like necessarily Cliff Kingsbury was doing a bad job and like he got fired, but Dan Quinn was probably like, I need you to get Jaden Daniels to play under center more and to do some more play action and things like that. Cliff Kingsbury's like, that's not necessarily my offense. Right. And, you know, if you want to do that, you got to get somebody else to do it. And it just makes sense for them to split that way for that. Because and I also like the fact that David Blough, like he even said, I'm gonna challenge Jaden, because I feel like a lot of the reason, not only Cliff Kingsbury, I feel like Jaden was one of the main reasons we ran so much shotgun. That's just what he's been comfortable with since his days at LSU and things like that. And I like the fact that David Blough is willing to take on the task of forcing Jaden to do what's good for him. It may not be comfortable at first. It may not be smooth. It may not be easy. But basically, this is your medicine. This is going to help you, stay healthy. This is going to help you be more productive, more efficient. You're going to learn how to play under center, even if maybe there's somewhat of a compromise where he plays some pistol. That's just me throwing out a random hypothetical, just a little bit of pistol to kind of take him away from that. But like we led the NFL by far in shotgun snaps over the past 2 years, and it's not even close. I got to find the stats, but they definitely want Jaden running an entirely different offense than what he's been running the past 2 years.
Yeah, for me, it was cool. They asked him about the whole Jamison Crowder play. So he talked about that, recapped that Crowder play against the Eagles, where we beat the Eagles for Jaden's 5th touchdown pass. And he talked about how Jaden, worked through it throughout the season. He didn't get it like one time, but he got it the next time. And Jaden's such a quick learner. He's just so special at learning things so quickly. So that's great. Just knowing their relationship, him and Jaden, of course. I think he talked about Jaden on the scout team too, getting some under center snaps, learning that as well. Some other things that were questionable, but he's telling the truth. He did say that Ben Sinnott has a long way to go. And that's very telling. So he did kind of give some personnel insight. He talked about the running back position too. He did hype Bill up. I'm not gonna say hype Bill up. He said that Bill had Bill's very talented, he's special, which is all true. And he said we're gonna make some acquisitions to the running back group. So clearly we're gonna make an acquisition. He said acquisitions and not just one. Yeah. So we could be bringing in 2 running backs. So that's nice to hear, nice to see. And then the whole thing with the tight end, they clearly want to add another tight end to the room, with him saying Ben Sinnott has a long way to go. But yeah, the under center is a real emphasis, and it just showed that they really did not fool with Cliff towards the end. Yep. I would say some of the things that Dan Quinn said too, and then he even talked about how the up tempo stresses the defense. So that's kind of another unprompted thing that he said about Cliff's offense. So, but no, I thought he said some positive things about, of course, Jaden in the offense and Terry and some of the guys that we got here. So, but no, you can tell that he clearly he loves the football. He's that nerdy type. Oh, what's the quote that he had from? I think Ben Johnson says this quote as well. Something about like changing things. He said, make the same things look different and different things look the same. So,
yes, sir.
Right. So, I mean, that's the whole under center thing that he's going to install that offense. And we know Ben Johnson said nothing but great things about David Blough. So, like I said, you're not going to get a lot out of him. He seems like that reserved, mellow guy, but I think he's going to have a lot of attention to detail, and he already has that great chemistry with Jaden. So, I do like some of the things that he had to say. So yeah, I mean, we got that young, innovative mind in there with David Blough. So I thought he carried himself pretty well, and I thought he did a great job for his first presser.
Yeah, to you guys' point, he is everything we asked for. Like, we want the nerdy, kind of socially awkward splash of Asperger's guy calling our offense, and he fits the bill to a T. I don't necessarily know if he has Asperger's, but you could tell like he just wants to draw up plays and call offense. He really don't want to do all of the talking shit. Like he's really not comfortable doing all of that. I'd much rather just, coach football and be diabolical as a play caller. And I love it, right? That's what we all asked for. And the thing that probably got me the most excited was he did a little quick hit with one of the, I want to say it was one of the news stations. And he said, basically, my job is to draw up an offense that gets Terry McLaurin at least 10 targets a game. We haven't heard an offensive coordinator ever since Terry was drafted here in 2019 utter those words, right? We've never heard our offensive coordinator go out of their way to make it abundantly clear that we got to get 17 to football. We've heard every excuse in the book. This is where coverage dictates, even to the point where Jaden started regurgitating that foolishness. Oh, that's where the coverage dictated where the ball went. No. The coverage never dictates that Noah Brown gets 9 targets and Terry gets 4. The coverage should never dictate that. So I'm like blown away by the fact that he said in his press conference that my job is to take Jaden and help him start to win the game with his mind. He's like, Jaden has the God-given ability to win with his legs and win with his arm. Now I want him to be cerebral enough to win with his mind. And I think that's the next step for Jaden Daniels, right? Is that he can start to beat teams at the line of scrimmage before the ball's even snapped. Tom Brady said one time that his superpower was that he could beat you with his mind at the line of scrimmage. He's like, I didn't have any athleticism. I didn't have the strongest arm. So I had to overcompensate by being smarter than everybody else on the field. And so when Tom Brady lined up at the line of scrimmage, he knew exactly what they were in, what they were trying to do, and he knew exactly where the football was going to go, where to line up everybody at, and where to distribute the football as soon as he snapped the football. And that's where we need to get Jaden to, because I felt like last year there were adjustments made to Cliff's offense, but there was no adjustment made by Cliff to put Jaden in positions to be successful due to the adjustments that had been made. And also, obviously, we didn't have the talent last year, but I felt like it forced Jaden to turn down opportunities, take off and run, et cetera, et cetera.
And even to that point, David Blough was like, I don't necessarily want to get rid of that part of his game, but we don't want him doing stuff like that until it's third downs, red zones, 2-minute offense stuff, type of stuff. But first, second down, normal game situations, to your point, he wants Jaden Daniels to win with his mind, pre-snap, all of that type of stuff. Then the heroics, the things that make him him, the things that, have him in the category of top 5 quarterback, top 7 quarterback, best rookie quarterback of all time type of stuff. The legs, the arm, those things can flash. The playmaking ability can come out when it has to, not just on every given down. Like we had to rely on him to do, because to the point that you've brought up for the past at least a season, that it feels like when Jaden's out there, Cliff makes the offense so difficult for Jaden. Soon as Mariota's out there, suddenly receivers are open by scheme. The answers are obvious, the answers are easy and everything like that. And so David Blough sounds like he's trying to make things as easy as possible for Jaden, and then Jaden can go be Jaden when necessary.
Yeah, he also said something that was really important to me, and that was that play calling is important. And yeah, duh. I think everybody's like, duh. We all know that, but I don't think people think about it in the context of which he was saying it. When he says play calling is important and it matters, he's talking about the structure of play calling. He's talking about the sequence of the play calling. Like, you could put together the best game plan that is perfect for combating the team you're playing against. If you don't go out as a play caller and call the plays when they are necessary, in the right sequence, set up plays correctly. That quote that Ed just spit out about, make the same look different and different look the same. There's an art to that. I think the best guy in the league right now doing that is Sean McVay, right? He takes the same plays and runs them out of different formations, shifts and motions to get to the same play. It starts out from 2x2, but it's, he motions to 3x1 and runs the same play. He just ran out of 3x1, right? It looks different, but it's the same thing, same concept. And Blough, I think, understands that there's certain times when, to Rico's point, where you do call a Jaden Daniels run or keeper, but you're going to want to be able to have him get easy throws. And this is the under center portion. And I wanted to show you guys a couple of stats real quick that I found interesting. Shout out to Just Vaughn, shout out to Condo P, everybody that's been sending me all of this stuff. This from Pro Football Fantasy. Most missed tackles forced on runs by players in the 2024 draft class. Bucky Irvin with 88, Jaden Daniels at 63 in second, and Tyrone Tracy at 58 in third. And wow, that's a great stat for Jaden Daniels. Much like we said after the 2024 season, where he led the team in rushing. Hey, that's cool, man. That's cute. He led the team. I don't ever want to see him lead our team in rushing again, right? I don't need to see Jaden Daniels on lists like this. You see two running backs. He's sandwiched in between two running backs. Like, I don't need my quarterback breaking 63 tackles in 2 years. It probably means he's running the football way too much, right? So that is to Rico's point about, scaling back the amount of times he's running, although we still want him to run. And there's going to be times where there's pressure or he doesn't like the look or guys aren't open, whatever, and he's going to take off. We still want him to do those things. That's what makes him Jaden Daniels. But, we don't want that happening so frequently that, he's finding himself on lists like this, right? And then we talked about getting under center, and this was from Warren Sharp, who, kills it with the analytics and does a great job of documenting things like this. Under center dropbacks in 2025. And so we know the Rams were running a ton of 13 personnel this year. And so they were one of the teams that kind of stepped outside the box, if you will, or turned the clock back by putting on these big formations on the field with 3 tight ends, and then also putting receivers on the field that block like tight ends. So it really made for a tough formation to stop. And they could throw it to any of those tight ends, all of them. Colby Parkinson, Tyler Higbee, Ferguson, who I loved in this past year's draft. They all could catch the football. Bears at 192. Anything you see with the gold star represents a playoff team from this past year. Seahawks 175. So you see the first 3 teams, all NFC teams, all teams that advanced to the divisional round or later in the playoffs. Lions, we know, are a really good team. They struggled this year with both of their coordinators being in new locations, but we still know they're a good football team, even though they missed the playoffs by a game. They're up there. 49ers, again, another good football team in the NFC. So just right there off the first 5 teams, 4 out of the 5 made the playoffs. The one that didn't miss the playoffs by a game. And they're all NFC teams. So you see what's going on this side of the bracket in our conference. You have to be able to not necessarily get under center, but all of these teams benefit from chunk plays off of play action fake. Something that the Commanders don't, because they don't get under center. And it's hard to run competent play action fake from shotgun or pistol, right? As you continue on, he goes through the rest of the teams. You get all the way to, so remember, keep in mind, the Rams had the most at 251. As you continue on, Ravens at 82, Titans at 79. You keep going down further down the list. Eagles are the last playoff team on this list at 50 under center snaps. Chiefs at 45, and then look all the way at the bottom. Washington Commanders had 17 under center snaps in 20.
That's so crazy because it didn't even feel like it was that bad. We've complained about it, but like looking at it like that is like, whoa, it's even worse than like it even felt like watching it live.
Oh, you didn't feel? I felt this. You didn't feel this? You didn't feel like it was this bad?
I don't know why I didn't feel that bad, man. 17.
Ed, did you feel this?
Man.
Did you feel like it was this little, or did you feel like Rico? It didn't feel like it was that.
Well, yeah,
little.
even last year it was like that. It was successful last year. You know, a lot of the times it was a lot of gun runs with B-Rob, Eckler, and quick passes. You know, the whole Cam Taylor Brick College offense, but it worked last year. It worked really, really well. It worked at times this year too with Mariota. He had a couple good games, and Jaden had a couple good games before he got injured. But no, definitely last year, like even like the Lions playoff game, I remember that like everything was quick, up tempo. But like I said, it was working. And that like even the second half of last year too, like our run game went really downhill. Our run game was basically a quick pass at one point of the season towards the end. And it was kind of like that last year too at sometimes. So yeah, you definitely watch it. Like, and then even the Bears game, I think when they had the bad exchange, Jaden had a bad exchange with Bill, fumbled. I think that was out of shotgun too.
It was.
We were up by what, 3 at the time or something like
2.
that. Yeah,
because we lost they kicked the field goal and they beat us with the field goal.
Yeah, so we were up. We're still
1. We were up 1 actually. I think we lost the game 24-22. So we were up 22-21.
I remember that time it was like, yeah, they maybe the fumble would not have happened if they were under. I don't know if that, you know, of course, we'll never know. But I know that was a big complaint during that game too. Or that
you're not the only one. There were a lot of fans that said that after that game. Like, why aren't they under center? And so I felt this. I felt this last year. I felt it this year more so than last year. Because if you recall, a lot of people don't realize this or don't recollect, or at least don't think about it like I do. His first touchdown pass was from under center. You know, coincidentally enough. But
Trent Scott special.
That's right. That Ed's boy went back to it against the Vikings and tried to get one for Brandon Coleman against the Vikings. So Ed lost his mind when he did that. Warren Sharp continues. Last 2 years, Washington has had a total of 45 under center dropbacks. That's 32nd in the league by a mile. The next closest is 86 snaps. So keep in mind, we had a total of 45 under center snaps the last 2 years combined. Kansas City, who is the next closest team to us this year, had 45 in 2025 alone. We had 45 in the last 2 years combined. So to Ed's point, we had more snaps last year in under center at 28, and this year only 17. Jaden Daniels has 31 total under center dropbacks in 2 years in DC, by far the fewest in the NFL. Sounds like that will change massively in 2026, which we all know that it will. So only 31 total under center snaps for Jaden. And I can also tell you guys this, that when Jaden was under center, because you can tell he's not super comfortable under center. When we tried to run the football out of under center against Seattle, they had him do the Robert Griffin III special where you toss the ball to the running back instead of meeting him at the mesh point on the outside zone runs and things of that nature. They just had him toss the ball to Bill. So you can tell Jaden's not like fully comfortable out of shotgun. He's going to have to work on his footwork. And Blough said it at his press conference that Jaden's going to have to get used to, instead of a 3-step drop, a 7-step drop, instead of a 5-step drop, a 7-step drop. Like, turning your back to the defense is something that you don't do very often when you're in shotgun. Even when you play action fake, it's like a quick little fake handoff, but you never turn your back fully to the defense in those situations. When you play action, heavy, hard play action out of an under center snap, you're turning your back completely to the defense. You have no idea what you're going to turn around to. And so it takes a lot of getting used to. And I'm anxious to see what that really truly looks like for Jaden in the upcoming season.
And to Ed's point earlier, that David Blough even said that, like, those last few weeks when we already knew Jaden was out for season, we already started to work on some under center type of stuff, while he was practicing.
That's right.
So, shouts out to David Blough for having that foresight that, we don't know if he knew he was getting the job back then, of course not, but just in case, even if I'm just the quarterback's coach, we know Dan Quinn and these guys want to go to under center. We're going to go and start working on this instead of wasting our time. I feel like we wasted a lot of time towards the end of the season by not playing the younger guys like K. Madrano and more Tyler Owens, more, younger receivers and stuff like that over Chris Moore. But at least Jaden Daniels was taking advantage of a lost 2025 season by starting to work on some of that under center stuff before the season ended. Thank goodness.
I am totally in agreement, and I'll take it a step further. You know who did know that David Blough was going to be the next next offensive coordinator of the Washington Commanders? Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
I think he knew, right? I think he already knew Cliff wasn't going to be back. And I was watching an interview with David Blough where he basically said, I think it was on Next Man Up with Brian. I think he said, how many teams are allowing their assistant quarterbacks coach to address the team? How many teams are allowing their assistant quarterbacks coach to call plays at practice? Like, DQ was grooming him for this opportunity. And he may not have known that it was coming this upcoming season, but DQ knew it was only a matter of time before this guy was going to be the next play caller of the Washington Commanders.
I feel like Mike McDaniels was the only reason they even thought about it. Like, maybe. I agree. I think Dan Quinn already knew before last season even ended. David Blough's next up.
Yeah, I think DQ is, or at least still somewhat gun shy from what happened in Atlanta, with Mike McDaniel and Matt LaFleur. They were all there with him, and he bypassed all of them to go, bring in Steve Sarkisian. So I think there is a bit of, I'm not letting that happen again. So I was definitely blown away by both of these guys. And, Daronte Jones, I just find it hard to believe he's going to fail. Like, this is a guy that was at Division I, Division II, Division III, CFL, NFL. This is a dude that was like, bro, I was homeless, sleeping in my car because I wanted this so bad. He said he met Adam Peters at UCLA, sleeping in the UCLA locker room. So they've crossed paths before. I'm like, that's dedication, bro. That's
different,
sacrifice.
bro.
Like, he wants this so bad. And I don't think he's gonna fail, man. I really don't.
I think that's what gave him the edge, because from the reports we've heard, and even like a couple of if you read in between the lines for things that Dan Quinn said during his part of the press conference, it seems like Dan Quinn was probably leaning towards another candidate. And then Daronte Jones's interview comes in. He's the last interview. They're just doing their due diligence. Like, let's give this guy a shot. And then Daronte Jones blows him away.
Yeah.
And absolutely just kills his interview, home run, all of that type of stuff. And they're like, whoa, we're going with this guy. And to your point, maybe we were leaning towards a Carl Scott. Maybe we were leaning towards an Al Harris. Because, I do believe we were going to end up hiring an up-and-comer. We saw that they weren't, afraid of doing that on the offensive side of the ball. But Daronte Jones, the advantage he has over those other two names that haven't called defensive plays at the NFL level before is that at least he's been a defensive coordinator for LSU before. And even in his press conference, he brought up the fact that, like, he's going to take some of those lessons from his experience being a defensive coordinator for LSU and carry that with them to the NFL level. Whereas like Carl Scott and Al Harris, they wouldn't have had much to work with as far as like I've been there, done that. Again, college level versus NFL level, but at least he's been a defensive coordinator somewhere. And it was LSU. It was the SEC before this whole NIL wave. So that was the SEC when it was still the SEC and 5 stars as backups and things like that. Super competitive division, all of that conference and everything. So I think that matters. I think he'll be able to hit the ground running a little bit sooner than Carl Scott or Al Harris would have. I still feel like those guys could end up being really good coaches, but out of all of the, future genius defensive guy, next Brian Flores, next Vic Fangio, next whatever, or the defensive equivalents of like a Sean McVay or anything like that, he's like the perfect blend of super high potential, super ceiling, but also has some experience to learn from going into his next opportunity.
Yeah, the humility is off the charts.
Yeah, I was going to say too about where he's been at. So LSU did a great job. They only allowed like 30 points in like 4 or 5 out of the 12 games. That's really good in the SEC. Like the defense wasn't the reason why they lost. Just looking at some of the box scores and some of the stats. And then Bowie State, like I said a couple weeks ago, they were like they had a top 5 defense in the D1 AA or whatever division that they're in at Bowie State. They had a top 5 defensive ranking each year that he was the defensive coordinator. And then, him naming the guys that he did name, like Tyler Owens, like you saw Minnesota do more with less, or they didn't have a lot of big name guys. So, probably in that interview, he was telling Dan Quinn on that he could possibly get the best out of guys like Tyler Owens, Kane Madrano, Quan Martin. He did name Javon Kinlaw. I didn't hear him name Bobby Wagner at all.
Nope.
So that is saying the whole young and athletic. He didn't name Bobby Wagner. And then the whole Frankie Louvu selling point too. He's very high on Frankie Louvu. He wants to get Frankie Louvu back to the Frankie Louvu, of course, from 2024, where Frankie was all pro.
Right.
Where, Frankie was kind of out of position. We just didn't have any edge rushers. Dorrance got hurt. Dietrich Wise got hurt. So Frankie did have to line up as a defensive end sometimes, and stepping into a role that he didn't do in 2024 for the majority of the season. So sounds like he has a good plan for Frankie Louvu, matching up on running backs and whatnot. He did name Trey Amos. Even Will Harris, he named Will Harris. Will Harris isn't under contract, but it looks like he likes Will Harris, has a plan for a lot of guys on the roster. So if you look at a standpoint where, we have so many needs on this defense, and if you feel like you can get the best out of guys that aren't the biggest name guys, you look at Minnesota, what he did with Brian Flores, also Mike Zimmer as well, then, Daronte Jones is a guy that could potentially get it done.
And I love how specific he was with, like, we're trying to get Frankie Louvu matched up against running backs in pass protection. Like, I absolutely love that, like, the idea of Frankie Louvu specifically being asked to do that more often. We saw Saquon Barkley got away with a super holding against him in the NFC Championship game. I mean, he obliterates running backs. What he did to Ezekiel Elliott to basically make him be like, I can't do this anymore. Like, he obliterated him. I mean, he absolutely, if there's one thing that Frankie Louvu can still do at a very high level, it is attacking running backs in pass protection, get them in between those A gaps and B gaps, and he's going to wreak havoc. And I love the fact that Daronte Jones, just the scheme that he's coming from. I mean, first of all, the different schemes he's coming from different teams and different great defensive minds, with the Broncos defensive coordinator, of course, Brian Flores, but especially more specifically the Brian Flores part, where this scheme does not cut corners. It's not lazy. It's not relying on talent. We are going to put guys in the best situations possible to succeed. Even sometimes your talent may not even be necessary, because and I love how, like, we're going to dictate what the opposing offense does rather than the other way around. Like, based off of the things that we do, the things that we're showing pre-snap, that's going to determine what an offense is even able to do, what an offense is even willing to do. And that's going to play in our hands very well because, similar to the Vikings, but even worse in our case, we're not a very talented team yet. Now, we'll see what happens after free agency and the draft, but I highly doubt after just one off season, we're still going to be that talented. And I love the fact this scheme does a great job of kind of hiding the weaknesses of some of the holes you may have on defense and bringing the best out of what you do have. And I'm just super excited because this is the type of defense that offenses are afraid of. And Dan Quinn defenses have been terrible against Shanahan offenses. Even when Dan Quinn defenses have been great, whenever they go up against Shanahan offenses, everything falls apart.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that we're going with a completely different scheme just off of that alone. And we've seen that Brian Flores scheme can have success against Shanahan offenses. And I think we're gonna. I forgot the exact schedule, but I know we're going against several Shanahan offenses this upcoming season. So we need that bad this year.
Yeah, they did joke around about the 31-0. Like he said that they didn't talk about it.
Yeah. First of all, Ben Standing an asshole for even bringing that up.
Yeah, there's no way you couldn't talk about it and joke that around, because there's clearly a big reason why he was brought in here. I mean, Cliff even said, I mean, not Cliff, but Dan even said about Cliff, you know, a reason why he hired Cliff 2 years ago or a year ago, whatever it was, was that he had to get, he said Cliff was one of the toughest guys he had a game plan for. And clearly Brian Flores' defense was tough for them to game plan for. They put up 0 points against them. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's a big reason why. So, I mean, clearly he had a game plan for Jaden and our offense, and I think he definitely will be successful against Shanahan offenses.
Yeah, I'm still tripping off of Cliff heading into that Minnesota game, because the man literally said, "Hey, we ain't even gonna try to game plan against, you know, Brian Flores' defense. We just gonna try to run our stuff. His defense too hard to prepare because they change it every week. We just gonna run our stuff and see what happens."
We lost the battle before the game even started.
Even started. That's the equivalent of Mike Tyson walking in the ring and you already scared just based off of his ring walk, right? Yeah, you finna get knocked out, bro. It's over, right? He took your heart already. He already had us beat before we even stepped on the field, man. I'm so excited to see what it all looks like, because I just feel like they get it. And to Ed's point, Minnesota didn't have a tremendously talented, defense. We're not gonna sit here and act like they didn't have any players, because they did. Like Andrew Van Ginkel is really good, like
especially at what he does. Like,
yes,
we've already talked about it. He's the best screen eraser in the NFL.
Might be in NFL history, bro. I've never seen anything quite like what he does with those wide receiver screens. We know he's picked off 2 of them against us. Yeah, one of them to the crib. Like, every time we see this guy, he's a demon and he gets us. So, like, I've seen him pick off wide receiver screens and take them to the house at least 3 or 4 times in his career. I've never seen anybody else do it like that. We used to marvel at Kendall Fuller's ability to sniff out screens, right?
And to make a tackle through a block and things like that. Yeah.
Right. This is next level stuff that Andrew Van Ginkel is doing. And Jonathan Grenard is really good off the edge, right? Like, they've got some good players. I don't want to make it seem like they don't, but it's not the Denver Broncos defense that Vance Joseph is coaching, where there's talent literally everywhere. Talking about Pro Bowl, all-pro talent everywhere. This ain't that. So for him to be able to come in here and potentially get something out of his defense, it's exciting, it's fascinating, it's interesting, because we probably, even if we hit it big in free agency, we probably still aren't going to have all of the pieces that we need. And so him being able to work around that is something that I think is intriguing, if nothing else.
And I feel like a big embodiment of that is the fact that they led the NFL interceptions the 2024 season. And then in 2025, they led the NFL in forced fumbles. And I feel like interceptions is a nice blend of a lot of coaching, but also some talent. Like, there has to be a certain minimum requirement of talent to get a lot of interceptions. There's only but so much you can scheme up defensively. But then the next year to be like, all right, bet, you know, we got Fabian Moreau and Jeffrey Okudah out here running around at corner. So what we're going to do is we're going to coach these guys to force fumbles. We're going to allow some completions. We're going to allow some passes to be completed, but we're going to force fumbles afterwards. And I feel like that's way more coaching than talent to lead the NFL in forced fumbles. And I think that that's something that's transferable from the Vikings to the Commanders, no matter who we have on our roster. Daronte Jones is going to get us to force fumbles, because at the very least, if we don't have the talent to pick it off in the air, we're going to have the coaching to take it away on the ground.
Yeah, Fabian Moreau, he had a good year. That's a guy I feel like we may target free agency. We'll see, but
don't do that, Ed. Don't put that on us, man.
He's my Nick Westbrook Akine.
Yeah, don't do that, Ed. Don't put that guy on us, man. We did our We did our fab time already. We don't need to do more fab time. We did our 4 years already, man.
He had a season with 3 picks or 2 picks. So
good for him, man. Good for Fab. Like
he looked good in purple. Yeah.
Let him stay over there, man. Dan Quinn spoke too. Did y'all care about what he had to say? Did anything he had to say pique your interest? Because I know there were some that was like, yeah. All right, Dan, enough. Get out of here. Let's hear from these coordinators, bro. Was there anything that he said that stuck out to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it was getting to a point where it was like, all right, so are the other two not going to talk, or is this about to be an hour and 30 minutes long? It ended up being an hour and 30 minutes long.
Yeah, about to say, no, it legitimately
everybody pretty much got like a 30 minutes piece. Yeah. But Dan Quinn still says some pretty interesting things, though. You know, of course, I mean, with us on the edges of our seats and just like, yo, can we get to Daronte Jones? Can we get to David Blough?
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't able to like really enjoy what Dan Quinn was saying live as much as I should have, because I was just so anxious, trying to get to Daronte Jones and those guys. But he said a lot of really interesting things, though, like a lot of really notable things, especially offensively, defensively. I mean, what the main thing was for me, like, and there was a whole lot of things he said, but number one is that Daronte Jones is running the entire defense. This is his defense. Dan Quinn has said it. I mean, you could tell by how long it took for him to steal away play calling duties from Joe Wood Jr., even as bad as Joe Wood Jr. was doing, you know, calling defensive plays for us last year, bro. He wants to be a CEO type of coach. He wants to be Mike Vrabel. He wants to manage the clock, you know, be the CEO, you know, handling everything from the top, delegating, all that type of stuff. He does not want to be calling defensive plays. He wants a guy that can come in and handle the entire defense. Now, of course, it remains to be seen how much they're going to prioritize, like, Daronte Jones's voice when it comes to who we get in free agency or the draft. But he said, this is Daronte Jones's defense, and that was music to my ears. That was the most notable thing. Dan Quinn said he's going to move out of the way. It's so annoying that there was even a chance that he may not do that, because for you to hire this guy and you feel like he killed the interview, he sold you this amazing vision, and then you come in and then randomly micromanage that. You know, a lot of coaches do that, and I'm just happy that Dan Quinn is not going to do that. This is the guy you hired. You wanted him for a reason. Let him bring his vision to life.
Yeah, and he's definitely letting Daronte do that, because, you know, he's allowing Daronte to pick his staff. You know, he let Ryan Kerrigan walk. He brought in Eric Henderson, and they gave Daryl Tapp a different role. So he's already doing that. But yeah, no, it was cool. And then, of course, you know, he did say, he opened up saying rest in peace to Sonny Jurgensen, rest in peace to Sonny, all-time legend.
Yes.
There was another Skins legend that passed away. I think he acknowledged him too. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on him.
The cornerback.
Yeah. So I'll Google it and definitely want to pay.
And the 3 empty seats too for the Washington Post thing. That was really cool too.
Yeah, so that as well. Especially the under center stuff with Cliff.
Barry Wilburn. Barry Wilburn.
He's Barry Wilburn.
Yes, sir.
And then he did talk about DJ Williams, Doug Williams' son. He said, "Holy shiggity, this guy is excellent." So he did talk about DJ Williams. Gave him credit.
King Shiggity in the building.
Right. Yeah, he was like, so it was funny. He was like, "Hey, Doug, you know, I think he said either we're interviewing somebody that you know, or we just hired somebody that you know." And clearly that was his son.
Yeah.
So that was a cool moment there. But yeah, definitely the under center once again just showed that he was just not feeling Cliff at all. He was not fooling with Cliff towards the end. But he said both guys are teachers. He said that's what you're going to get from them. And then listen to the conference. You know, you can kind of tell. Well, not kind of tell. You tell, especially with Daronte Jones, that he is a teacher. He really
absolutely.
Like he brought up the IEP thing, the school relationship, the personal relationship. Daronte Jones, he said he wants to ask players about their family, like the best way he can get the best plays out of them, or the best performance out of players is, you know, building a relationship on and off of the field, which totally makes sense. But yeah, no, I mean, and he said it's going to be an aggressive, balanced offense to get the best out of Jaden. So, but honestly, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I did tune Dan Quinn out just a little bit.
Couldn't help but to, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. He did talk for what, 30 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, it was 30. It was 31 minutes.
Yeah,
So I get it.
Right.
I'm starting to get mad at the reporters. Like, stop asking.
Right. So, but they
go ahead.
did ask him. I think they're trying to ask him, like, why was Daronte the last interview and you ended up hiring him or something like that? And he was like, no, we had a wide net. So, we talked to a lot of people. So I don't know if he exactly was the dead last hire or something. Like, maybe he might have came in and then they announced it a little bit later. So, but yeah, no, it sounded like Daronte really blew him away. But yeah, Dan Quinn, the most that stood out to me, of course, was acknowledging how good the hires are, and then of course just how much he wanted to get away from Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, he said a lot. It was crazy though to circle back to y'all talking about the press conference overall. I thought it was gonna be a Dan Quinn jump on, do his little intro, and then introduce the two coordinators, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Do the little Sunny joint, the Barry Wilburn thing. If you want to shout out the Washington Post and the three reporters that no longer are on the beat because they got rid of their sports section. I thought he'd do all that, jump on, maybe give a quick little synopsis of why he made the switch. Fresh eyes is something he said during his press conference, maybe a little spiel with that. And then you go into, hey, this guy's ready for his opportunity, and let me introduce, Daronte Jones, that type of thing. Sort of like what you get when you hire a new head coach. That is not what happened. You know what I'm saying? And I was not prepared for 30 minutes of DQ. Although I was more than welcome to the idea of it. I just was not prepared for that. But
yeah, I had to go back and watch it again to fully
grasp everything.
Internally, grasp everything that he said for sure. Because I was like, Daronte, David Blough. And honestly, they should have done the order a little bit differently. Daronte should have gone last. I love David Blough. I'm excited. But the energy transition from Daronte going.
You're not lying, bro.
Yeah,
it was that J went straight. But again, this is what we asked for.
This is literally what we want.
An offensive coordinator just like this.
It was perfect. It was perfect. It was just the order was a little weird.
It was just, you hit it right in the head. Literally, I said the same thing. I don't think they knew that it was going to go that way. But if they were looking for this wow bang type finish, Daronte should have went last, because you went from DQ to Daronte and the shit went all the way the apex, and then it went. David Blough was just monotone. You could tell I'm gonna answer your question, but he's almost sort of disinterested, right? Can we hurry up and get this over with? I'm really not comfortable doing this, So
him and Jaden, Jaden, you can tell Jaden's still like that.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Unless he's talking about Brandon Aiyuk.
That's wild.
Oh, man.
He caping for his boy. If nothing else, Jaden stands 10 toes down for the ones he hold down, because he is caping for his boy, trying to get him here, man. He really is.
And even real quick, going back to Daronte, I also loved how he said, I love the Brian Flores scheme and everything like that, but maybe year one or week one or whatever, we may not be able to run it as much as I would like. Maybe, just me throwing out a hypothetical. It's not exactly what he said, but it seems like he was trying to convey the message maybe in the beginning it's only 50-60% of a Brian Flores scheme. Then once we have enough off seasons and free agencies and drafts to get all of the guys that I prefer to have on a defense, then maybe it's more an 80-90% Brian Flores scheme eventually. But we're not just going to force this scheme on people. We're not going to cookie cutter it. We're going to do whatever is best based off of the talent that we have. So it may be stealing some elements from the Broncos defense. It may be some elements from the Brian Flores defense kind of mixed in. And we're basically going to do what is best for us at the moment. So I was really excited about that. So he's not just coming here and being, hard-headed and stubborn. Brian Flores defense, day one, week one, no matter the results. So I'm happy that he preached adaptability. He kept bringing that up throughout the entire thing, versatility and adaptability.
And that applies to him as well, right?
Exactly.
Being versatile and having the ability to adapt to the pieces that you have, right? Because he's not going to have everything that he needs for this defense to be at its peak year one. We know that, you know. I hope the fan base understands that. Having watched this team last year and even the year before that, this defense wasn't good in 2024 either. So you got to understand it. It's going to take some time for this defense to get to where he wants it to be. But can he make changes that allow this defense to be, you know, hovering around middle of the pack? You know how much of an improvement that would be? Can he get this? And more importantly, can he get this defense from being one of the worst in the league at creating turnovers to middle of the pack? If that happens, boy, we got something on our hands here.
And to that point that Adam Peters brought up in his final press conference, if our defense is at least, to your point, average, somewhere around there, Jaden's going to be in less chaotic situations that leads to them getting hurt. I mean, because to the point that, you know, we've been bringing, especially like comparing him to Drake May and Bo Nix and Caleb Williams, other guys in this quarterback class, they don't go out there feeling like every possession they have to score. They're playing through the flow of the game. They know when in doubt, oh, I make a mistake, my defense can get it back for me. Jaden has, since he's been drafted here, he's had to play like, if I don't score this touchdown every drive, we're going to lose. And that is what's led to his injuries more than anything else, more than lack of offensive line talent, more than lack of receivers being open. It's him knowing that I have to put this team on my back and score every possession possible. And even if the play isn't there, I have to put my body in even more harm's way to potentially try to get it there. And so I'm just happy that, you know, potentially that Daronte Jones is going to take a lot of that responsibility off of Jaden Daniels' shoulders right there.
Having DQ speak, to your point, Rico, he said before that he wanted an experienced defensive coordinator, someone that had called plays before. And Daronte Jones changed his mind basically with his interview. He blew him away and changed his whole entire thought process on wanting an experienced play caller. We were really close to a Terrell Austin or a Graham being in here calling plays, bro. I'm so glad that Daronte Jones came in here and did what he did. I love DQ talking about having to recapture the swag because we lacked it everywhere, including DQ, right? How many times did we come on here after games during the season and say the 2024 DQ would have gone for that particular fourth down with no hesitation last year, but the 2025 version was hesitant. You know, he didn't want to roll the dice and he lost his swag. Not only did the team lose their swag, DQ lost his swag as well. And he said, we got to recapture the swag. And I believe that's paramount for this team. Like, they were good guys. They were able to withstand the tough season. They were jovial in the locker room despite, 7-8 game losing streak that they endured during it. I think what that streak get to? Did it get to 10? We were 3-12 at one point, right? Did we ever get to 3-12?
Yeah.
Think we got to either 3-11 or 3-12. It was bad. We definitely didn't win 3 in a row to get to 5 wins.
No.
Yeah, we beat the Giants and then we beat the Eagles 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
We literally just kept coming back to 500. We win, lose, and then it just
we were 3-2. I know that.
Yeah.
And then we lost all those games in a row. I think it stopped at 3-11, I think. That's when we beat the Giants. And then we lost to the Vikings, got us to 4-12. Then
was that the Seahawks after that?
No. The Vikings game was Jaden's last game.
Oh, yeah.
Then Josh Johnson started, I think, 3 games in a row. He started the Dallas game. So Mariota must have gotten hurt somewhere along the way. Because Mariota beat the Giants.
Well, the Cowboys on Christmas.
Christmas. Yeah. Josh Johnson's first start was Christmas.
Yeah, he actually had a good game in my
And
opinion.
then he beat the Eagles in the final game. So
Yeah.
I think we were 3-11. So might have been 9 straight losses. Whatever the case may be. They were still upbeat in the locker room. You couldn't tell that they were going through this tough season. All that's fine. But
They
the
weren't
swag,
lost.
huh?
I was
Yeah, they
saying-
were still lost. They were
weren't.
still lost.
We lost, but we weren't lost. I hate that quote.
Actually, we were still lost. We were still trying to find out how to win football games. So yeah, he needs to recapture the swag. This whole team needs to recapture the swag. And he actually started out his press conference after getting through all of the condolences and things of that nature by talking about all of the switches on the staff, right? They, made changes. They upgraded guys' titles, moved on from some guys. So here's the complete list of all of the changes to the staff. So Andre Coleman, and you guys can stop me if any of these stand out to you, caught you off guard, or you have something to say about it. Andre Coleman to assistant wide receivers / returners coach. So I'm not sure that we had an assistant wide receivers coach last year.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
I don't recall that, or returners coach. So I think this is a new position that they've created for Andre Coleman, who last year was just an offensive assistant, essentially, just a guy that was helping out on offense. He now has an actual title.
That's the most Jalen Lane coach right there, possible wide receiver and returner.
Yeah, absolutely. You just focus on helping him, right? Anthony Lynn to running backs coach. He was already the running backs coach, but
he lost his run game coordinator.
I was just about to say, I think they might have taken the run game coordinator title from him. Now, I don't know if they're assigning that to someone else or if that's just gone now. Because Lynn might have been more comfortable with the gap scheme. So he can't coordinate the run game now if he's not more comfortable with the outside zone that they're going to be running, the inside-outside zone. So that might have been why they took that from him. That's my guess.
I think Eric Henderson, like defensive line, I think I saw like somewhere, not here, but somewhere it was like / run game coordinator, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I always thought it was the defensive run game coordinator that he was doing, but it could be because a lot of times if you are able to do it on one side of the ball, you can do it on the other side of the ball. A lot of times.
Yeah.
So,
and that's what I was hoping. I was hoping Anthony Lynn is the offensive run game coordinator. Eric Henderson is the defensive one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess they just took it away from Anthony Lynn, which is crazy because former head coach and getting head coach in interviews, and he's just chilling here being a running backs coach.
Man, me and Ed, we were praying for Anthony Lynn to get one of them jobs.
Third rounders? That would have hit.
He was over here.
I think he had a second interview with the Browns or something like that.
Yeah, man, they was out here making people write dissertations and essays trying to get their job.
Man,
I was like, Anthony Lynn, bro,
could have been cool, man.
I was like, get this job, bro. Stop playing.
That Browns.
I'll hire Anthony Lynn.
Be the best you could be, Anthony Lynn. Strive for more.
I was like, man, I could have proofread that joint if you needed me to, man. Jesse Madden to assistant running backs coach. So Jesse Madden last year was an offensive quality control assistant. So he gets a major upgrade in title to assistant running backs coach. Jesse Madden looks like he's 14 years old. I don't know if you've ever seen him before.
John Madden's grandson.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's super young. Like I saw him. I'm gonna pull up a picture for y'all because I have pictures of these guys from their jobs from last year because I was interested to see like the titles that some of these guys had. But Yeah, that I did not know that you just dropped the gem on my melon. So that
Yeah,
is actually John. He looks like he's 14. That's his grandson.
So I
Okay.
literally try to avoid just seeing the last name Madden and assuming he's related to John Madden. So I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
he
is
was coaching at Michigan. He played at Michigan too. He's a walk-on or something like that. And then he just ended up being a coach.
wow. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna. How long ago was that, Ed?
He was there with Mikey. He played with Mikey. He was on the same team with Mikey Sandersville.
He actually
wow.
played.
He played. So his jersey's a little baggy. He looks like an extra.
Okay.
All
right. Okay. He looked like a long snapper, basically. Okay.
Yeah, he was on the team. He was on the roster. I think he got the ring with Mikey. He got that national ring.
All right. That's cool. Okay. Well, here's Jesse Madden right here, down at the bottom.
Oh, he looked like he's from where Jokic and them from.
Yeah, he do look like he's Slovenian. Yeah, he damn sure does. That's a good one. Yeah, that's funny. All right, so I learned something new every day. So that's John Madden's grandson. Okay. Darnell Stapleton, we talked about this before. He's going to be the new offensive line coach. And they asked Dan Quinn about that, and he took the high road. He didn't even mention O-line Bobby Johnson. He just basically said that they have a lot of confidence in Darnell Stapleton. He did a really good job last year, and they feel really confident that he can get the job done, basically, is what he said. But we all know.
Really weird. That's really weird to go, never call plays before offensive coordinator. And then first time offensive lines coach. Typically, that offensive lines coach is like the anchor to where if you do go with the inexperienced offensive coordinator, at least the offensive lines coach been there, done that, been all over the place, probably a former offensive coordinator at some point. Everybody's new. Like, this is going to be really interesting how inexperienced and this group is, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I think too, in their mind, there's enough experience, to your point, like an Anthony Lynn, right? They've got enough of those guys around that they should be able to lean on some of those guys. But you're right, it's a very inexperienced offensive staff in particular. The defensive side has a lot more experience to it, but the offensive side, not a ton of experience at all. They brought in, and he's not listed here, but they brought in David Blough, one of his former teammates at Purdue at quarterback, as their assistant quarterbacks coach now too. I forgot his name. Danny Etling is going to be the new assistant quarterbacks coach. So and this is his first opportunity. So it's a lot of young guys, man. DJ Williams himself, I know he's been a quarterbacks coach in this league before. We just got him from Atlanta, but he's still relatively young at the position as well. It's a very young staff, to your point, Rico. Shane Tobe is going from offensive. He's going from, I think he was either just an offensive assistant last year, or he didn't have a title. Let me see if I can track down Dave Tobe. Dave Tobe is, I think he's on this one. Nope, he's on this one here. Dave Tobe, right there. Shane Tobe, I mean. Offensive quality control was his title last year. So he's going from offensive quality control is Shane Tobe to now offensive line assistant coach. So that's a big step up in title for him. Wes Welker, as DQ told us at the presser, was a defensive assistant last year, also helped and doubled as the assistant special teams coordinator. We did not know this, but our assistant special teams coordinator is dealing with a bout with cancer. He's battling cancer. And so Welker had to step in for him. Absolutely. Shout out to our assistant special teams coordinator. Let's get his name right, because I don't think any of us.
I think last name Schneider, I believe.
Yep, Brian Schneider. There he is, right there. Prayers up to him. Hopefully he is recovering and able to rid himself of that cancer, send it into remission, and get back to the thing that he loves to do, but Welker had to hold him down last year. Now Welker is going to be on the offensive side of the football, kind of filling in the gaps on that side. He does not have like this specific, title. It is literally offensive assistant, but he will be helping on the offensive side of the football. George Banko to assistant linebackers coach. So I'm not sure if we had an assistant linebackers coach last year. We may have. I don't recall that being a responsibility.
Brian Kerrigan was probably the closest thing to it. It's like a outside.
He was outside linebacker / pass rush specialist last year. Yeah. So I think
that's interesting. So they feel like, does Ken Norton Jr. like need maybe like a succession plan, or does they feel like he needed a little bit of help? Like that's interesting that they just came up with that position now. Because to your point, I don't think we had that last year.
And I don't think we had it, but I think it's more so to give a guy that they really like in the building that was here last year. He had no title last year. Let me pull him up. I don't think George Banko had any title last year. If he did, it was like quality control, defensive quality control. There it is right there. Defensive quality control. So, you want to reward a guy that you think is doing a really good job and give him an actual title. He's, worked his ass off, and, he's working his way up the food chain. And so he's now, instead of grabbing coffee for, and running copies and setting up film for the defensive coaches, he's actually one of the defensive coaches, and somebody else can do quality control. So good for George Banko.
Like the sun emoji, the little blood.
Hey, look, man, some of these dudes be looking crazy as hell. Straight up, man. He definitely that's funny. Shout out to Tommy Donatel, man.
Oh man. Yeah.
Speaking of which, Tommy Donatel is now this is interesting. I thought this was really interesting. So Tommy Donatel last year was the defensive backs coach. There was no designation, no splitting up of safeties and corners. It was just defensive backs coach. And then William Gay was your assistant defensive backs coach. That's all we had last year. This year, Tommy Donatel is defensive backs coach / safeties coach. So his specialty will be just working with the safeties. Meanwhile, William Gay has been somewhat promoted to defensive backs / cornerbacks coach. So he will be working specifically with the corners. They're both the defensive backs coach now. It's not assistant. Weird. Yeah, it's different, right? It's not assistant defensive backs like he was last year. A lot of people thought that William Gay was actually going to leave and go to Pittsburgh with Joe Witt Jr. and
Jason Simmons. Yeah,
and remember, William Gay also played for the Steelers for a number of years. So a lot of people thought he was going to go back to Pittsburgh under Mike
McCarthy.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. But he's still here, and apparently he got a kind of an upgrade in promotion. Upgrade in title. So that's interesting. We know about Daryl Tapp, defensive line coach. He's now our assistant defensive line coach to make way for Eric Henderson. We'll talk about him because I don't think we've talked about him.
To be able to bring in Eric Henderson and keep Daryl Tapp, I feel like that was underrated. I really do. And even to the Tommy Donatel and William Gay thing, I know a lot of us are not fans of Tommy Donatel, but I mean, if anything, that Daronte Jones knows is defensive back. So I'm not too worried about that. We have like a real defensive back specialist. Now, granted, you can say Joe Witt Jr. was technically that same type of guy, and we weren't getting a lot of our defensive backs, but I think Daronte Jones will be a different case. But yeah, to be able to bring in a new defensive lines coach and for Daryl Tapp to take a step down and to be able to retain him, I thought that was a really underrated move. Out of this whole list of things, I feel like that's one of the more impressive parts of it.
I do as well. Because I like Daryl Tapp. I think
his energy, man.
Energy. You took the words right out of my mouth. His energy is infectious, and I think the guys feed off of that. And I think DQ loves that about Tapp. And to bring in a guy like Eric Henderson is huge. We haven't really talked about Eric Henderson either. So if anybody wanted to chime in about him, you could. John Pagano was here last year in a like senior defensive, role, right? Now he is the outside linebackers coach. Remember Ryan Kerrigan, who held the outside linebacker / pass rusher specialist job, is no longer here. So John Pagano will be coaching the outside backers. DJ Williams, quarterbacks coach. We talked about that already. And then Eric Henderson, which I think was one of the more underrated hires of the offseason that I don't think enough people talk about because of how highly regarded he is. And he's another guy that, like, I was watching videos of USC guys, like fans of the USC program, and they were trying to do everything in their power to hold on to Eric Henderson because they said he was a master recruiter. They had like the #1 recruiting class this past year, and it was all because of Eric Henderson. And
yeah, 247 literally does like their rankings of individual recruiters.
yeah,
And he was the #1 guy. Like it was him. It was like a sizable gap in everybody else, according to 247. Like, and I'm not exactly sure how the recruiting thing translates to the NFL, but that defensive line development, because he was like the co-defensive coordinator for USC, and USC has had historically terrible defenses until he showed up.
Yeah.
And then I mean, we could talk about so many things about the Eric Henderson hire because I mean, Aaron Donald loves this guy. You know, Aaron Donald, he was already an all-pro. He was an all-pro before Eric Henderson came around. For you to come around to Aaron Donald, the Aaron Donald that we already know, multi-time all-pro, and for him to take that much interest in you, for him to be like, yo, this guy can still teach me some things.
Right.
Like, you have to be doing something right. Again, you know, some people look at it as, well, by the time you got the Aaron Donald, he was already all pro. Now, I look at it the opposite way where, I mean, a guy that already future Hall of Famer, and then you come around and he's like, wait, yo, this new D-Lions coach, man, he got something to him that, you know, he's making me like, you know, relearn how to love the game to another level type of thing. And to the point that Aaron Donald, he was even coming to help like recruit and coach for USC. So that's like his guy. That may be Aaron Donald's favorite coach ever, and he only got to be with him for a couple of years at the tail end of his career with the Rams. So Eric Henderson, man, they got the whole thing where they were like printing shirts, and it was like dog something like that.
Dog work.
Yep. Dog work. They have like a whole like mantra and like, you know, like a whole persona that they have on the defensive line. And I love the fact that Sean McVay, like at some point even mentioned like, yo, like he started this whole thing and then like it took off on his own. It became its own thing by itself. Like, it wasn't like I was supporting him as the head coach or any of us were helping. Like, he completely started that whole dog work thing himself, and it made it into his own thing. Everybody bought in, and that was completely separate, his own thing, without any of us having any influence over it. And he even said something to the extent of, I was impressed with the fact that even all of the stuff we had going on, for him to be able to find the time to do that was absolutely incredible. So, like, Sean McVay loved him. Aaron Donald still loves him. This is a guy that, I mean, you may be able to, you know, that #1 recruiting, you know, college isn't the same as the NFL, of course, but, you know, maybe free agency wise, you may be able to convince some like, hey, like Aaron Donald swears by him type of thing.
Yeah. I just think with to your point, the recruiting thing, the translation there is just the relationships piece, because that's how you get guys to sign on the dotted line and commit to going to a school, you know, outside of NIL, of course. But you gotta build relationships to get guys to want to come to your school. And what that says is he, much like Daronte Jones, much like Dan Quinn, is a master at establishing relationships with guys. And so I think that is going to, you know, resonate with these guys here in Washington. And that's how, to Daronte Jones's point, that's how you get the most out of guys. I was listening to him talk about how he, you know, was at Bowie State and these dudes ain't even had nothing to eat. So he was like, yo, we fed him, you know. When he was at the high school level in Louisiana, he was like, these boys was walking home from school. So we gave them rides. It's little things like that that endear people, you know, these players to you. And he's like, bro, they will run through a brick wall for you, you know, if they know you care. And so I think Eric Henderson is another one of those guys, in addition to him being like Aaron Donald was like, bro, he gave me drills and he gave me things that I used to propel me to an even higher level, right? He was like, that I used until I, decided to retire. And so he took Aaron Donald and elevated him to another level. So this dude knows how to coach defensive line. And to your point, Rico, he went to USC and completely changed the way that they did things in terms of defensively getting after it. They had one of the more talented defensive lines while he was there. So
even like as a co-defensive coordinator, they went from allowing 34.4 points per game in 2023 to 24.1 in 2024. I mean, like that immediate Eric Henderson comes in and this defense goes from horrible to at least somewhat decent. They went from 106th in third down conversion percentage to 21st. Like that's a big jump in just 1 year. Massive. And the reason I really love this, I felt like if you were going to hire a former DB specialist as your defensive coordinator, you gotta kill it with your defensive lines coach. Similar to what I thought, like, you having David Blough as an inexperienced, former quarterback as your defensive coordinator, typically you're going to go with a super experienced, been there, done that offensive lines coach. We didn't do that there. But on the defensive side of the ball, you have a guy that knows D-line as well as anybody else. I felt like my number one guy for the job was the Vikings defensive lines coach. Like that was my 1A. Eric Henderson was easily my 1B. I still feel like this is a home run hire because again, Daronte Jones, if he knows anything, he knows defensive backs. I think he's going to be a great defensive coordinator. But any things that are falling in between the cracks, any pieces that maybe Daronte Jones may be overlooking, oversimplifying, Eric Henderson can pick up the slack in all of those different ways.
Yeah, I think this is a tremendous hire and not one. Go ahead.
He may be able to benefit Johnny Newton. You look at Kobe Turner for the Rams. His rookie season had a really good year. Kobe Turner had a season where he had 9 sacks. So maybe he could get the best out of Johnny Newton and help him take that leap. But no, you guys brought up great points with the whole recruiting thing, building relationships, being able to connect and relate to. It's a different generation of players. These guys coming out of college and trying to get these guys to sign NIL deals and whatnot. There's just so many options that college or high school players have, and college players is transfers as well. So being able to relate with young guys like Johnny Newton or young guys on the D line, Daron Payne, even though he's getting a little bit older, can you get the best out of him if Daron Payne is still on the roster? And you look at the run defense for the Rams too. Of course, they did win the Super Bowl while Eric Henderson was there with Aaron Donald and some of those guys on that D line. But you look at their run defense, and our run defense has been bad the last couple of years. I think we're like 7th in EPA while he was there, the defensive line coach. So he's a guy that can come in and improve this run defense. If he is the run game coordinator for the defensive side of the ball, that's something I'm certainly looking at. But I think he's going to get the best out of Javon Kinlaw. He'll be able to relate to him too. But yeah, he just has the swag too, like the whole dog thing. Like Sean McVay loved that with a passionate interview. So he just has the swag and the fits with the culture and all that. And like I said, just relatable to younger players in the younger generation.
And I feel like him and Daryl Tapp are going to be like an amazing defensive line pairing. Like, because Daryl Tapp is all of the energy. Eric Henderson is all of we know we got to do this drill. We got to, I think that's going to be a beautiful pairing right there. And even to add to the relationship, he's coached under Anthony Lynn before. So that's an interesting connection there as well. So I'm just really excited to see how all of this meshes. I mean, it may not be super smooth and seamless immediately, but I think we'll see over time that this is a great coaching staff that we put together.
Oh yeah, and he was a really, really good player at Georgia Tech too.
Oh yeah, he was.
Yes, sir.
He did play in the NFL for a couple of years. He got hurt. I want to say he played in the XFL too or UFL, which is a good thing too. But he was he had 25 sacks in college, which is really good. He was I believe he was a defensive. He was 3-time All ACC defensive end at Georgia Tech. And he had 7 forced fumbles.
Yeah, when he left Georgia Tech, he had a bunch of school records.
Yeah.
So, he can definitely coach, and he's got the experience too that doesn't hurt. So I'm excited about all of these moves, and looking forward to seeing how it all comes together. I've already injected the hopium. It's too late for me. And now I need them to go out and continue the momentum that has been built with the changes to the staff, and go out and go get us some free agents that can keep this momentum going into the draft. So that's the next piece of this. And
speaking of free agents, we signed up. We did our first re-signing of Tress Way.
hey,
Way, our
shout
first
out to
re-signing of the
Tress Way.
season.
They did a whole press conference for Tress Way, bro. That's crazy. But shout out to Tress Way. We knew he was going to be back. I don't think any of us expected him to go, but it was good to see them get that done and have him come in. But a Tress Way press conference is crazy, though. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, that
was a little over the top, but hey,
I
it's Tress
was
Way,
not
man.
able to tune in. I was still working on my notes, and I had to rewatch the Dan Quinn one because, again, I was looking forward to Daronte Jones so much that I wasn't able to really retain everything that Dan Quinn said. So I had to go back and watch that. And then Tress Way is already going on, so I didn't see that. But shouts out Tress Way though.
If anybody deserves a press conference, it's certainly Tress Way. The ups and downs he's been through with this franchise. I mean, he had to catch snaps from Cameron Cheeseman.
Yes, he did.
Man,
yes, he did.
Killed on one play where they just laid him out when Cheeseman had a terrible snap. And then he's just been a heck of a punter. I know it's a punter. I know it's the position, but he's been a heck of a punter, Pro Bowl punter at that. He was our only Pro Bowler, I believe. Yep. So he was the only one that went out there and played the flag football game last week. So, I mean, he if anybody deserves, and he gave up his jersey to Jaden Daniels.
Oh yeah.
That's an underrated OG move.
I say forever good in my book off that one just alone for sure.
And so with all that said, Ed, Mr. If anybody deserves a press conference, did you watch Tress Way's press conference, Ed? Because I most certainly didn't. And Rico already said he didn't. So did you watch the press conference, Ed?
No, I didn't even see a picture. I haven't seen a picture.
You don't even know what his fit looked like.
That is the perfect segue. That is a perfect segue to our quick sponsor for this show, Sleeper. We'll come back on the other side and we'll get to the comment section. Shout out to Tress Way, man. Sleeper is the best way to experience and connect over sports together. It's a one-stop shop for all of your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat in the games in real time with other users, get the fastest scores, blazing fast news and alerts right at your fingertips. Play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. So enjoy sports the way they were meant to, together. Download the #1 sports app today. So big shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring this stream, man. If you're not already a part of the Sleeper family, what are you waiting on? Click on the link in the description of this video. It'll take you to where you can download the app. Make sure that Sleeper is available in your area. It's available in over 30 states. And then once you do all of that and you confirm that you are who you say you are, we got a special surprise for you. Use our promo code KINGS25 to get you 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. March Madness right around the corner. NBA is about to hit their All-Star game break. They come off that break and it's down home stretch, so everything's about to heat up. Sleeper's got you covered. They've done a great job of offering up boost after boost after boost, but they're switching up the game now, and I'm still working on how all of it works. But they've got this new feature where you can place, you can pick winners in actual games. Like tonight, for instance, the Lakers are taking on the Dallas Mavericks tonight, right? And so no Cooper Flag in that game. And so even though there's no Luka, they still got LeBron. They still got your boy. What's the other white boy? Austin Reeves. So it feels like this is going to be a Lakers win. So now
I know the last Lakers game, LeBron, Austin Reeves, and Luka did not play though. I'm not sure if they're back though. I don't know.
So they sat out because it was a back-to-back.
Yeah, look.
Yeah, okay, because I saw that Spurs.
Yeah,
I mean, whatever
they set out-
obliteration that was.
I mean, Wemby went nuts.
Was it 25 in 8 minutes, bro? Yo,
25 in 8 minutes. He had
on,
37 at halftime. He was the fastest to 40, I believe, the third fastest in NBA history to 40 points in terms of in the least amount of minutes. 26 minutes and 6 seconds it took him to get 40 points. It's crazy. But yeah, nobody played in that game for the Lakers. So understandably, that alley that Swiper threw him off the backboard was crazy, bro. It was.
You talking about after he got the block and then came down and passed it and then got it. Right
he looked like he was gonna lay it up, and at the last minute he kind of like turned backwards and threw it off the glass, and then he just came and yammed it. It was, they were having fun on them boys the other night. So you can pick winners on actual games now on the Sleeper app. So shout out to Sleeper for continuing to improve the app and continuing to give you more and more options. And we'll have more details with that in the coming weeks. For me, I've enjoyed the app so much and all of the new features. They've actually got a new interface with the app where it's separate now between picking the game winners and the actual players, which is what you've been having the opportunity to do. So big shout out to Sleeper, man, as they continue to adjust and adapt and continue to grow. This app has been amazing this year, and it's continuing to get even better. So big shout out to Sleeper. Use the promo code KINGS25 once again to get you 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. So with that said, let's get to the comment section, see what you guys have to say, and then we will get out of here. So we start with HTTR Lot. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. HTTR Lot says, who is the Commander Kings first draft pick?
There's like a strong 6 people I would be so excited to get, man. All defensive too.
I think that's the way to go about it, Rico, is you make a list of about 6 guys, because you got to assume the quarterback is going first, right? Got to assume he's going to the Raiders. So your 7th, there's going to be 6 picks that follow the number 1 pick by the Raiders. And we expect Fernando to go. So
and to add to that, I don't know how Trinidad Chambliss did it.
Man,
he got
what? He somehow look. I'm shocked because the NCAA felt like they shot him down at every turn. I heard that he appealed in Mississippi, which, if that's true, come on, man. That's how I got overturned. If he appealed in Mississippi, really? You think they're not gonna give him a 6th year? So I don't know how all in the NCAA can appeal if they want. I'm just let him play, bro. Jesus, just let the man play.
But the Jets need to be ashamed of themselves. For Dante Moore to go back and deal with Dylan Raiola in his quarterback room. Trinidad Chambliss going through all of this, man. Yo, the Jets need to be ashamed of themselves.
Hey, dudes know when they see a dumpster fire and they want no parts of it. They are fighting not to become New York Jets. That's why.
Whatever it takes. I saw like there was like a Korean gym somewhere, like something, and like their whole thing was you better work out well so you don't become a Jet or something. It was like literally in Korea. It was crazy. Bro, it's bad.
Yeah, that's terrible, man. That is terrible. But that's how bad it is right now, man. The Jets are the worst, bro.
I gotta go to court to not end up getting drafted by the Jets.
Hey, and not just once, multiple times, bro. He got told no like 4 times, and he's like, "Nah, we gotta get out of here, bro."
Because speaking of multiple, the Jets got multiple first-round picks, so even if they don't take you with their second, you might be that next. No, I gotta go back to college. You got to let me back in one more year, man.
Hey, dudes is doing whatever, bro. That's crazy. I mean, do you know how loaded next year? Like, you are going to be a first-round pick this year if you're Trinidad Chambers. And
Easily.
instead of a guaranteed lock first-round pick, you're deciding, I'm going to throw my name back in the ring with all of these dudes that are supposed to be surefire first-round picks. We know college football is crazy. Every year we go with these preseason All-Americans and these guys that are supposed. I mean, look at Nussmeier, the LSU quarterback. This time last year, going into camp and all of that, he was the number one quarterback. He was definitely a first round pick. And look
Penn
at the season
State's
Garrett
quarterback
Nussmeier
too. Like he was supposed to,
yeah. And look at where he is right now. So he was at the Senior Bowl fighting for his life. So you just never know how it's gonna go. Right. Neil Rack, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, I really want to know why Donatello is still here. God, this man Donatello.
He got demoted. That's not good enough for everybody. Y'all still...
Hey, look, first of all, we don't know if he's a bad coach or not. Like, we got to stop trying to shit on Tommy Donatello, man. Like,
literally just assume. It's so funny.
Because he's white, he can't coach DBs. And now he coaches safeties, and it's okay for a white guy to coach safeties. The problem was having a white guy coach corners, right? There's so few. Like, we can name just about every white corner there's been in the last, 20 years. There's been Jason Sehorn, and now we got Riley Moss.
Troy
Apke. Shout out to Troy Apke, man. Hey. How many snaps did he get at corner, bro?
Special team.
Did he play anywhere else after he left here? Did he get a run anywhere else?
Probably a practice squad, I would say.
He was the one that Dion loved, right?
Yeah, because he could run. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Dion fell in love with him because he could run. But that's all he could do was run. Couldn't do nothing else. Mr. Deacon, sir, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Mr. Deacon, sir, writes, EB, why not Washington? Joe, the way we live is not for everybody. Felt good to hear DB and DJ was strictly football and teaching and scheme and not just rah-rah BS.
100% agree.
Absolutely. And did anybody find it strikingly odd that all of our coaches now, their first name begins with the letter D?
Oh, I actually did not notice.
Yes.
Dan, David, Daronte.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I was looking at that. I was like, yo, this is wild. I was doing the artwork for one of the joints and I was typing their names. I was like, that's crazy. So, yeah.
So now Daronte, he didn't want to, like I said before, he did not want to overpromise and underdeliver.
Yep.
Basically what Joey Jr. did with the whole ball is life. We're going to turn the ball over. We're going to force turnovers and all that. We never really did that consistently, except for maybe one game against the Lions. That's the only game I can really remember where we just went out there and really took the ball away from a team,
right?
Consistently in a game, and that swayed the game and actually changed the game. So yeah, he made sure he didn't do any of that T-shirt, bulletin board type of material that Joey Jr. did and Eric Bieniemy.
Man, the way we live is not for everybody successful.
Yeah. Hey, look, man.
Basically, we did the opposite of what Joey Jr. We didn't arrive violently. We barely tackled. We barely turned the ball over.
All of that.
The opposite all of it. What he preached, basically.
Oh, and even to that point, Daronte said, even if you're not seeing everything we're trying to do through schemes just yet, you're gonna see it in the fundamentals. I like that too. We're gonna be very aggressive with how we tackle, very aggressive with how we play and stuff like that. So that has me excited. And Daronte, I got to check into that because his last name is Jones, and that's like my family. And I literally used to be at Palmer Park as often as I could be. That was like one of my favorite parts of my childhood. I gotta really check in to see if I'm halfway related to him.
Hey,
yeah,
he might be. He might be. Next thing I know, I'm gonna be seeing Daronte Jones on Rico channel. Chopping it up with him.
Yeah, I gotta tune in, man. That whole piece of my family, last name Jones, Palmer Park. That's crazy.
Hey, he might be, man. It's a small world, bro. It's a small world. I think that was almost everybody, Mr. Deacon, sir. Like, just refreshing not to have somebody come up here and give you the rah-rah speech trying to get you excited and amped up, but just talking ball like, yo, this is how I'm gonna come in here and get shit done, right? GT7, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for the Dubski. Hey, really appreciate you for holding us down. Says Kings, it feels different. Wait for it. Because it is different. I believe Dan picked some winners, man. Too late. It ain't no I believe. I already injected the hopium, bro. It's too late. Dan picked some winners this time, man. Interesting how Blough put a spotlight on JC as offensive player to shine this season. It's going to be really interesting to see how a lot of these players that quote unquote have been disappointments under Cliff Kingsbury that have been drafted or Joe Witt have been drafted, all of a sudden, if they start playing well, we're going to see it. Because remember, the report from Diana Rossini was not that there was a disconnect between Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury, which I do think there was, because clearly Dan wanted him to, run the football more, get under center, all of that. But the report was that the rift was between Adam Peters and Cliff Kingsbury. And if that is true, it was because some guys weren't getting run, but also he wasn't utilized. Because you got to think about it from a general manager's perspective. I draft these players and you don't play them or they're not playing well. And look who does that fall back on? Me as the general manager, because I picked these players.
That's what everybody's looking at. Yep.
Right.
Especially fans.
Oh, for sure. Right. Like when shit doesn't go well and the players that you drafted aren't performing, the first thing we do is we look at the general manager because you picked them.
Man, we're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs and Kane Madrano still can't get on the field.
That's a problem, bro. You drafted Ben Sinnott with a second round pick, and the biggest play this man has had in his NFL career is a fake punt catch in the NFC Championship game. Like, that's a problem, bro. So, like, I could understand why Adam Peters was like, yo, I got an issue with Cliff because you making me look bad out here. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Blough put a spotlight on a number of guys, and as we talked about already, so did Daronte Jones. He brought up a bunch of dudes, including Kane Madrano. He did not have to bring up Kane Madrano's name.
Yeah, did not have to.
Some fans
probably would prefer if he didn't.
He did not have to do that, okay? We were not clamoring for a Kane Madrano name drop, all right?
But I am intrigued, though, because when he talks about young, athletic, and stuff like that, that's one of them guys that if you can unlock Kane Madrano, things could go very well. Because if you could have, like, Jordan McGee and, like, a big Mike role, Frankie Louvu attacking a line of scrimmage, and Kane Madrano is, like, your coverage linebacker type of guy, we can really be cooking. I mean, very, very optimistic view of it, but that would be really nice, though, man.
It would be ideal. It would be very ideal. So we'll see. We'll see. Mr. Deacon, sir, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. I don't think this is actually a triple up for you, my guy. He writes, liked how DB talked goats with his QB staff worked with.
So goes.
He said, liked how David Blough talked.
David Blough.
You talking about Tom Brady and
okay, gotcha.
And
the different guys he worked with.
Yeah, some of the other quarterbacks he was with.
Yeah. He threw out Stafford. He definitely name dropped. He talked about his experiences in those rooms as a backup. He's like, I was in there when those conversations took place between Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray. Between Joe Billy Bob Thornton, whatever that guy's name is that was in Detroit with Matthew Stafford. and he talked about being in the room when Kevin O'Connell was talking to Kirk Cousins and seeing that dynamic and he said that he learned a lot from seeing those interactions. So, and he even said him and Jaden are going to continue to play pig at practice. So, they got a really unique relationship, and like Rico said, they're very similar in how they, approach the media and things of that nature. They probably have so much in common. They probably get along really, really well. So I'm glad he's still
But
here.
even to that, Dan Quinn made sure he let us know, like, hey, Jaden Daniels may have been a part of the process, but Jaden Daniels did not hire our offensive coordinator. Dan Quinn don't play about that.
No, but he also made sure he said, we think about Jaden Daniels with every move that we make offensively. Like, he might not be a part of the thought process, or he might not be a part of the actual hiring process, but he's a part of our thought process when we're making all of these decisions, which is the way it should be. And I also love that he said, I communicated with Jaden before all of these joints to let him know what was going down, so he ain't find out from some third party. He wasn't ever caught off guard. So when we moved on from Cliff, Jaden knew about it before we even made it public knowledge. When we hired David Blough, he knew about it before we released that information. So he knew about everything that was going on before it happened. I love that too. Magic Red, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, who writes, I love how former players have JD5 ranked number 1 in his class and number 2 in the conference. At the same time, he will be under the most pressure next season.
That has been like a trend. Like, everybody that has like Drake May 1, Caleb Williams 2, Jaden Daniels 3rd or whatever, is usually some type of analyst that has not played before. And then all of the former players, Jaden 1, left and right. It's been like a literal like tug of war on the internet like the past few days. Everybody doing their NFC quarterback rankings, 2024 quarterback class rankings. Is literally the former players that all know, that realize Jaden is carrying the team more than any of the other quarterbacks. Because Drake May, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, all good quarterbacks. Draft class going to go down in history, but none of them are doing more with less to the extent of Jaden Daniels at all. Not even close, honestly.
Yeah, so Chris Canty, he had his top 5. I feel like somebody else too, but no, I mean, the Super Bowl was a great watch. It was a great result. I mean, that was just
perfect.
Fair shot.
That whole playoff run was perfect. 80-something passing yards.
Awesome. I loved it. That was awesome. I mean, it was a rough
watch.
with
you, Ed. Watching crazy the whole time.
Right. Yeah, no, it really was. It was a rough watch and a great watch at the same time.
Beautiful.
That was awesome. See a strip fumble for a touchdown, 2 picks. I took the more interception on sleeper, so I was waiting on that. Drake, he took a little while to throw the interception, but we all knew it was coming. He floated one in the air, and then the other one, he should have thrown like 3, honestly.
Yeah, he was.
And then the clip that came out later was that Julian Love saying like, "Yo, we do this to young quarterbacks all the time." Like Matthew Stafford, it's hard to intercept him because he does this and that. He hides his attentions. Drake May, I knew I was gonna get me one. It was something like that. It was like a clip of them on the side before he even got the interception. He's like, "I'm gonna get me one," because Drake May is doing this rookie mistake type of thing.
Yeah, it was the whole playoffs. I mean, he had a rough playoff.
Yeah, he did.
80-something passing yards and a win.
Yeah, and then when I saw Morgan, and I'm a big Morgan, I'm not gonna say I'm a big Morgan Moses fan, but when I saw Morgan Moses giving a speech on the sideline, I was like,
he's like, "Oh, they in trouble. They cooked.
That's it. They're done.
I said, is that the Momo we used to know? Momo got a tattoo coming all the way up the back of his neck. Did y'all see that? I said, hey, Morgan done changed, bro. What happened to the clean cut, fresh out of UVA Morgan Moses that we knew? Morgan done hit a few teams, went to Baltimore and got a little brolic, man. Like, wait a minute, what's going on here, man? Hey, good for Momo though for finally playing in a Super Bowl. Right? They said he had the most games played of any player in the playoffs without a Super Bowl appearance at 191 regular season.
Oh, that's
games.
Hard. That's
good
hard
for him, man. Even though he didn't get the chip, good for him. Shout out to Momo, still getting it done. And yes, Jaden is going to be under a ton of pressure, but that's what we want. We want Jaden. We hold him to a high standard. You know, we prop him up. We talk about him being the best, and with that comes great responsibility. So I'm all for it. Jim Dapp, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Jim Dapp writes, personally, I don't care what any of them have to say. Don't care where he's from. Don't care. I want results. And AP, I want talent. So Jim Dapp is like, I don't give a damn what none of these dudes talking about. If they ain't talking about winning some games and getting some results, you ain't talking to me. That's how Jim Dapp feels. I ain't mad at it. That's kind of like Ed wasn't that extreme, but that's kind of how Ed felt. Ed was like, look, man, these dudes, Ed literally is suffering for some PTSD, man. Like, yo,
seriously.
I didn't fell for it before, hook, line, and sinker. They ain't getting me this time. I got to see them do something first.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah, the Joey Jr. press conference was an A. Like I said, Eric Bieniemy was an A. They all passed it with flying colors. So I can't get too hyped for this one. I can't. I like what they said, but I'm with Jim ADP or Jim Dapp 100% on this. Same thing with Dan Quinn's presser.
Yeah, I feel you. Anybody that feels that way, I totally get it. I totally understand. Rosario Satara Pileski, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for the Dubski. Hey, really appreciate the support. Who writes, I am happy for the offensive coordinator hire. Will under center offense take a long time for Jaden to learn? We'll see. I don't think it'll take that long for him. Getting ready for my second book event. Shout out to you, man. Really, really am so proud, as I always tell you, so proud, man. Shout out to you. He says, Street Scores and Ed are excellent content creators, lurker fans of yours. Shout out to Ed and Street Scores for holding it down all of this time, man. Y'all have been continuing to kill it. And man, I really appreciate y'all, man. Y'all are inspiration as well. So shout out to y'all.
Man, same to you, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate all y'all, man.
Both y'all.
I love the little cup. Cheers, Ed. Little cup, man. I love that little cup, y'all. I need to give you one of those. So I love that little cup.
Dollar Tree.
Hey, that's where you got it from?
Somebody got it for me from Dollar Tree.
Was that a holiday special or something? Because it looked
like it was back. Yeah, it was back in 24. Somebody got it for me.
Oh man, I might not be there. I might have to, because we got a Dollar Tree right around the street from my crib. I might have to head in there, man. See if I spot one of them joints, man. Hey, Scotty! Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for the dime. Who writes new Blough order. Shout out to Scotty. We might have to change it, man.
I would say it rhymes. It's close enough.
It's close.
You gotta do it.
I see what he did there, man. This is, if for those of you who don't know what he's talking about, it's a play on this.
New how order.
Man, I thought he was gonna be good. I was more of me hoping instead of thinking. I was hoping he was gonna be good. He showed flashes, and Eric Bieniemy was the worst thing that happened to him, though.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. Shout out to Scotty. Hey, Scotty. Shadow Striker 789. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, new operations assistant, a rocket bro with higher AP.
I think it's W higher, but I'm still trying to figure out new operations.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Rocket bro, W higher AP. Operations assistant. They must have hired somebody there that I'm not aware of, but I just like what they're doing overall. I just think that this is a big off season. We've said this a million times. This is a big off season for the entire organization, and I think they got off to a really good start with the hires, because DQ did the thing that I didn't think he could do or would do, which is hire young guys. Thought he was going to go the veteran, route.
Safe.
I thought he was going to do what the Giants did. Like, I was very underwhelmed by the Giants coordinator hires. I just thought that John Harbaugh could do better than that. I just did.
I agree.
And clearly he was caught off guard by his offensive coordinator getting the head coaching job in Cleveland. He really didn't have a backup plan. And their defensive coordinator was one that we interviewed, and we was like, yeah, I mean, he all right or whatever. We would have hired him. I think y'all would have, tried to make yourself feel good about it. But I wasn't a Denard Wilson guy. He would have been all right. But, like, I don't really feel like their hires moved the needle other than the coach. And we're going to find out if he's really like that now that he doesn't have Lamar. I mean, he did it with Flacco, too.
With that GM.
Well, he might be on it. And the crazy part about New York, not to get too far off subject, but I read a report. Now, I don't know how true it was, but I read a report where Harbaugh doesn't even have to report to the GM. That makes sense because he's John Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Like, he took that job off the strength of, I'm John Harbaugh.
He got the Rivera control. Mm-hmm.
That's what it sounds like. So if he don't have to report to Joe Shane, that could get messy quick. Because if anything go wrong, you're out of here, bro. I'm going to hire my own GM. That's nasty work.
The head coach hiring the GM is always crazy.
The only time I've ever seen it work was in San Francisco with my Kyle Shanahan, because he hired John Lynch. That's the only time I've seen it work. Every time else that's been done, it usually is disaster.
Oh, and also to back to the coaching hires, like we've been talking about and screaming, begging, pleading, can we get younger on the roster? Well, it starts with getting younger in the coaching staff. So, I mean, if there's a coaching staff that will recognize we need to be younger, faster, more athletic, it's going to be the younger coaching staff as well. They're going to be willing to take risk. Dan Quinn taking risk with a lot of these hires. These coaches are going to take risk with some of the players they bring in. I'm just super excited. Like, I love the fact that it seems like, of course, things could change. Who knows what happens when we actually get to free agency in the draft. But I like the idea of taking risk, going for some boomer bust guys and then letting the coaching handle the rest instead of just going with safe, going with going with okay. He won't be great, but he won't be bad either. I like the potential of going after some, because I feel like, what Nick Amawari was doing for the Seahawks, that's a boomer bust guy that super boomed,
Yep.
And I'm hoping that we strive for that in a lot of different position groups. And again, having younger coaches is going to make you more than likely lean that direction.
Yep. I agree. And, like you said, he could have been safe, but he chose not to be. And I respect, that's why I've been giving him all the credit this off season, because he could have elected to be safe and he decided, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to swing for the fences. I can appreciate that. K's take. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for the dime. K, who writes, just want to support, love what you guys do. Man, we appreciate that, K. Thank you so much. Really, truly do appreciate you. Thank you for the support. And we appreciate you holding us down. So, and we appreciate y'all. Me and Ed were talking behind the stage about how y'all been waiting for us to do another show. There was some talk about, situations like we had broken up or something was wrong. Look, let me just say this real quick. You don't do a show for a week or two, because life be lifing sometimes, right? We're human. Just because we're content creators doesn't mean we don't have lives outside of our content creation. So sometimes shiggity happens and we just not able to get on the same page. More than one of us can't be available. And if we can't have enough of us here, then we're just not going to do it. And sometimes we just have to reschedule. Doesn't mean that something went wrong or something's, happened to the group and it's not together anymore. All right.
It's like, I guess if only they could see the group chat, because this is daily conversations, laughing, talking about whatever. Yeah.
So I just wanted to throw this out there. There will be, time situations where, somebody's out of town, or somebody had something happen in the family, or the schedules just don't align, we won't be able to get a video done, right?
Yeah.
We try our best to make sure that this is a weekly thing, and we've done a really good job of that. But sometimes we're not able to hit, and that's okay. But we're not going anywhere. The Kings are going to be here, and we're going to continue to bring you the best in Commanders content here on YouTube. So I just wanted to make sure y'all are aware that, hey, we here to stay. We ain't going nowhere.
Definitely in season, and
and we're going to keep supporting for people like Kay, who just want to show some love and support. Man, we really appreciate every single one of y'all.
Definitely in
Drew.
season. Definitely in season we'll do every week. But no, I was just piggybacking.
No.
And there was a lull.
I can't hear you. You know how sometimes my joint go out. So you just keep
can't
talking.
Hear us?
I'm about to.
Okay. Yeah, there was a lull. This is that lull after the season. This year we didn't make the playoffs, so of course there was just 2 or 3 weeks of nothing for us.
Yeah.
In that after season, so there's going to be a bye week here and there, and definitely a shout out to K-State. Make sure you subscribe to her channel. She's doing football content, so make sure you subscribe to K-State for sure. But yeah, there's definitely lulls. I was just saying, Lou, there's lulls in the off season. Can you hear us now?
Yep, I can hear you. Yep.
Yeah, so there's bye weeks that are going to happen, and everybody needs breaks too. So probably after that lull in June or July where there's no mini camp, there's no OTAs, that might be another bye week. So I mean, there's just times like that too.
Absolutely. Like, you're gonna see us just about every week, but there will be times where you just might not see us. We try.
A couple of us might be on having beach backgrounds trying to.
Heck yeah,
especially when we get to that June section, boy.
Oh man, talk about it, bro. Talk about it.
No, thank you guys for the concern, though, for sure. We appreciate that because
it
was up on Twitter and stuff. It's pretty funny, some of the stuff you guys said.
Yeah, no, it was Ed just sent me a really funny one, man. I'm gonna read it to y'all. It was a really funny one. And sent in the group chat. It reads, and this was from Commander Dev.
He was at the live event too, Commander Dev.
Shout out to Commander Dev. Yeah. He wrote, I heard the Commander Kings didn't extend Ed too flat due to the cap, and he's joining the Defender Kings. And that's why they haven't done a stream. He says, Louie Tee, you are a trash GM. Damn. Chitlin Circuit, what'd I do? He said, Ed, the only QB who could throw the ball to street scores ATL. We seen that Rio Robinson can't do it. Good one. So, hey, we appreciate the support, man. We appreciate y'all supporting us. Drew, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, sup, Kings? Sup, Drew? Love DQ's comments. Top needs, TD score, pass rusher, and lockdown corner. Could really see Love, Delaney, or Bailey/Bain at 7. Of all those names, I haven't watched Delaney. I've just heard a lot of good things about him. But of all those guys, Bain is the one that I don't see. It's not, not Bain. Love is the one I don't see them taking at 7, although I would love it, pun intended. I don't think they would do it. Bain is interesting. I still don't know if he fits this defense per se, but he can play, man. I know there's, a number of things that people knock him for, but he can play ball. So Bailey's my guy. I've said this a million times. I just don't think he'll be there at 7. That win against Philadelphia, I think, puts us slightly outside of his range. I think if you had the 5th pick in the draft, he'd be there. I think Cleveland probably takes him off the board right before us at 6. So I think I'm lost.
Hoping they go offensive lineman or receiver for whatever reason. But I agree. I don't think he's going to make it to 7. But
yeah, I hope you're right.
I like Bain a lot too. I just feel like Bailey's the better fit, and more specifically what we need. Because even just to the point of Daronte Jones, or more so Brian Flores, they like their pass rushers, their edge rushers to be able to drop back in coverage occasionally. I don't want Bain dropping back in coverage
at all.
And Bailey, I think I forgot. I saw somewhere he reached like a miles per hour but would have been 5th out of all ball carriers in the NFL last year. Like, so he has some super athleticism and speed to him to where if you need him to drop back in coverage, of course, with how great he is at getting after the quarterback, you don't want him doing it often at all. But if he wouldn't necessarily be a liability there. Delane, I mean, the most productive lockdown. The thing with him is just he's not super fast. He's not super long, super tall, or anything like that. So his relative athletic score isn't going to be great. But I mean, he's the super. Just watch the tape. Do not overthink it. When the combine comes by and he doesn't test that well, his tape was arguably the best. The only guy that I probably have over him is like last year, the previous year, 2024, Jamar McCoy. But of course, towards ACL, he didn't play at all in 2025. But those are your 2 best corners. And then Love again. To Louie's point, I would love to draft Love, but I just don't see it happen. I think it's like a 90-some% chance of going to be a defensive player.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be Jeremiah Love, just because I think that's a position that I always think it's a luxury position in the first round. That's a luxury pick. We don't have a luxury pick at 7. You earned the 7th pick in the draft because you suck. And you have a plethora of needs that supersede running back. And so I just don't see them saying, you know what? Best player available is a running back. We could use a running back. And again, we can have that discussion. I always feel like these draft discussions are frivolous until free agency has taken place. Because we can sit here and talk for an hour about whether or not they'll take a running back, and then they go in free agency and sign 1 or 2 running backs, right? And then all that conversation was for naught, because they're definitely not going to sign Rashad White and Tyler Algier in free agency and then draft, Jeremiah Love, right? So
exactly, yep.
Again, I highly doubt that they draft a running back, but we'll see what they do in free agency first. Again, Delaney could be an option, but they could sign a guy in free agency. If they sign a starting caliber corner in free agency to pair with Trey Amos and already having Mikey Sainristil, they're not drafting another one in the first round. They're just not. So, again, that would be 3 years. I honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see them drafting a corner 3 years in a row. They drafted Mikey in 2024. They drafted Trey Amos in 2025. Both second-round picks. I don't see them drafting a 3rd corner this year. I could be wrong, and we could use another young corner in the room. I don't know if I see that happening, especially not.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Renell Winchester. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Renell writes, is Debo gone now that we took a $12.34 million dead cap hit by not resigning him today, leaving him an unrestricted free agent? He is out of contract. It's always been, for me at least, and y'all might can speak to this, it's always been that Debo was a 1-year rental for me. He was going to have to absolutely kill it to come back. He still got a shot to be back here, despite anything that may have transpired. But I think if it were up to me, you'd move on from him, because while he was really good for us last year, I feel like he's limited in what you can ask him to do, and he's getting older. He's not getting any younger. I want to get younger at the receiver position. I don't mind, and getting younger could mean signing a free agent wide receiver that's 27 instead of Debo being 30 or 31. So I don't see him being back. I don't. How about y'all?
So I would love to have him back, but he's going to outprice himself. The money he's going to be asking for, we're not going to be willing to meet him there. So I would love to have Debo. To your point, he's limited. He's only getting older, and he's going to be way too costly compared to what we need to accomplish as far as like trying to fix so many parts of our team. We can't sell out big for Debo and then have all of these other holes elsewhere.
Right.
Yeah, he was just at the Super Bowl with his guys, partying with George Kittle, partying with Christian McCaffrey. I will see if he goes back to the Niners. I would like to have him back. I've said that before. I would like to get Debo back. I think that would help, and you still get another receiver via the draft or a free agency. But my gut is telling me, yeah, like you guys are saying, he probably will be looking for a little bit more. I think 13. Well, he's probably gonna be looking for because I think Cooper Kupp got 13, 15. Cooper Kupp got like 15 or 16 or something like that. So Debo may be looking for like 18, 19. And he had a good season. He had 700 receiving yards. He had a good, strong ending to the year against the Cowboys where he Debo Donovan Wilson. So I do think other teams will be looking for his services. But I don't know what David Blough is looking for too. Maybe he's looking for more of a traditional number 2. So that may be the biggest factor, that they're just looking for more of a traditional number 2 receiver.
Mr. Deacon, sir, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Mr. Deacon, sir, writes, Doug Jr. with Breeze, E.T. backing up Brady, A-Rod as well. Yeah. So you're talking about Doug Williams Jr. with Drew Brees.
And then Etling.
Etling backing up Brady and A-Rod as well. Yeah. He was definitely name dropping during the press conference. And there's a lot. The one thing I can say that they've done since Jaden's got here, and I think this was done intentionally. I think they did this knowingly and willfully. They've surrounded him with former quarterbacks that have played the game at some level. Not a guy
that was the main reason we hired Cliff in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember when they brought Cliff in, one of the highlights was they brought in David Blough, they brought in Cliff, and they had Brian Johnson, all former quarterbacks. And the holdover from the last regime was what's your boy that's coaching at Stanford?
Peter Pritchard.
Peter Pritchard. Yeah. All quarterbacks that played at either the collegiate or NFL level or both. So that was one of the selling points of we've got this, incubator for Jaden that we're going to put him inside of to take care of him and nurture him. And it feels like they're continuing that by bringing in Danny Etling, Doug Williams Jr., and keeping that quarterback feel of a bunch of guys that are surrounding him that have played the position, can see it from that lens. And so I think they feel like that's important. So, yeah. Famous Quay, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, Rico, what you think of us drafting Everett?
I like Everett a lot. Because even coming out of high school, 5-star, depending on where you look, like 247 and stuff like that, talent's always been there. He never ended up, I would say, living up to that 5-star talent that I feel like he had. But I mean, the athleticism is there, the speed. He's been matched up against some of the best receivers in college football, and whenever we needed him most in big games, it seems like he had his best games, and then he'll have a bad game against some random sorry receivers on a random team. But third round, I would definitely take the opportunity to take him. I don't think he's first round at all, and of course we don't have a second round pick. And I think he'll actually make it out of the second round. I think he'll land in the third. I like to compare him. I like Lassiter more. I feel like Lassiter was more consistent, more lockdown, but Dalen Everett definitely has a ceiling to him. I would take a chance on him in the third round. If we don't do anything corner in free agency, no Woolen, no Joby or whatever, I would take an Everett in the third round for sure.
I can't wait till I can speak y'all language. I'm gonna get there soon enough, man. Yeah, I'll just be patient.
It was just so much easier because this year was so bad so quickly. Yeah, I was like you last year.
Yeah, no, you definitely. I felt good last year because I had company, man. Y'all weren't able to talk this draft shit right along with me because y'all was so caught up and captivated by the season. This year, it got so ugly so quick. Y'all was able to jump in on the. So y'all talking a different language from me right now. I can't even relate.
You got to remember, too, since we were drafted at 29, it got to a point where, like, yo, these mock drafts aren't even fun. Anybody that I really like
is gone.
More than likely not even going to be there. Yeah,
Right,
like, even when you're doing, like, the mock draft simulators, it wasn't fun. Now, 7th pick, it's like, oh, we got David Bailey Bain and Caleb Downs available in this mock draft. Like, it's just different.
But you would much rather have the one where you picking at 29.
Oh,
right.
Any day, man. Any day. I shouldn't care about the draft in October again, bro. I don't want to ever do that again.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Yeah, we're just looking at. I just Googled his numbers. I mean, he had 3 picks his junior year, so that's good. He forced some turnovers. He was in the Senior Bowl too, so I'll look up some of his stuff.
That was the final super chat. So I now ask you, fellas, is there anything that you want to talk about or say before we get out of here? Is there anything that we did not? Because there was so much it felt like we had to talk about tonight. I feel like we covered just about all of it. Is there anything that you guys wanted to talk about that we didn't hit on?
Yeah, there's a lot of random stuff. You know, we can talk about the whole uniform and logo stuff another time, but you know, the interview with
that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, the interview with Jaden. I know he did an interview with Pro Football Talk, I think, and then the other one I can't remember who asked him about Brandon Aiyuk. But I'm really I can't wait for free agency. I can't wait to see what does happen with Brandon Aiyuk.
Yeah.
And I'm 50-50 on it. I kind of lean to not get into the Brandon Aiyuk sweepstakes, but of course you understand if he is released, which he probably will be, Aiyuk's gonna have no choice but to take a prove it deal, man. It's gonna have to be a pretty cheap deal. It probably will be cheaper than what Debo's gonna get for agency because of the shenanigans that he did the last year. Not only the shenanigans, but the injury too. It was a rough injury, so it's just a big question marks for teams to sign him. So I don't see him really getting a big contract, especially after, Kyle Shanahan didn't do him. Of course, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan were fed up with him. So of course they let the chopper sing during their press conference, their end of the year press conference too. I don't blame him. So I mean, I'm just, even if he doesn't sign with us, I'm just interested to see what deal Brandon Aiyuk just gets in the NFL. And clearly Jaden wants him, and clearly Jaden probably wants Rachaad White too. So those are 2 guys that you gotta that first day free agency, when you see that they might be signed. Rachaad White might be a day 1 sign. He might be a day 1 sign.
That was the Yahoo joint you were referencing when he talked about bringing a certain someone from his past at Arizona State. Like, we don't know who he's talking about. There was a lot of Jaden interviews that were interesting. He did one with CBS Sports as well while he was on Radio Row. But the whole Brandon Aiyuk thing is really fascinating because he's not – I don't want to compare him to your boy who just got arrested for domestic violence.
Oh, James Pierce, man.
James Pierce. He's not that. So I don't want to – I don't want you to compare the 2. But he does give me Isaiah Wilson vibes, though. Right, a guy that clearly was not interested in playing football, was more interested in what football could provide for him. Rico knows about Isaiah Wilson all too well because Isaiah Wilson wanted to rap, apparently, and not play football. And once he got his rookie contract as a first-round pick,
it was up. It was over.
He pretty much murked on the Tennessee Titans. And I'm not saying that's Brandon Aiyuk, but it's not like too far-fetched because after he got the contract, he got injured. Now I will say that, to be fair, he got injured, but he was tripping before the contract. Remember all the shenanigans to get the contract? So I just don't know about this dude, man. And to Ed's point, and a lot of people have been saying this in the comment section. He got to take a 1-year deal. If it's a 1-year deal, we need talent at receiver. It ain't nothing to talk about. Take a flyer. I'm like, okay. I mean, I don't have any issues with that, but I honestly, I'm somewhat leery of Brandon Aiyuk. I ain't seen the man run. Forget about football. I ain't seen this man run in almost 2 full years. And every time I see him, he's doing some non-football irresponsible shit, like spending money on jewelry, buying Jaden watches, hanging out of cars, zooming away from Levi Stadium, right, at dangerous speeds while recording himself. Like he's been doing a lot of crazy stuff. He looks more like a mechanic these days than he does a football player. So I'm not sure if I'm interested in him or not, but if they were to take the flyer, I'm all about it.
Same. I mean, if it's super duper cheap 1-year deal, kind of like why not? But beyond that, nah, I'm good. But I mean, Brandon Aiyuk, no matter what he signs for, he's a bonus. You're not depending on him going into the season like that. You bring back Treylon Burks, you sign Brandon Aiyuk, and we still need 2 more starting receivers after that.
But that's the problem, Rico. If they sign him, bring back Treylon Burks, they're going to start looking at the rest of they do. We got Jalen Lane and we got Luke McCaffrey coming back. And you're going to be like, oh, that's nasty. They might not do nothing else after that. Then you might be inviting them to bring back Chris Moore and all of these bums to camp, man. Right? Now, also, we got to remember, they did bring on Mr. Nasty. They did bring in Nash, and I'm excited about Nash. I ain't gonna hold
That's
you.
Gonna be fun for preseason. He's gonna be a preseason, yeah.
And them young boys from last year are gonna be back as well in year 2. So
Jacoby, all of them guys,
all of them guys too.
Should have seen them the last few weeks. I don't know why we didn't.
Should have. Now I think Jacory was out for the season. When I went on the team website, he was on IR for the season. So that's why but Jacoby was fine. And you would have thought he did something wrong after the Dolphins game. I'm amazed that we couldn't get him on the field in any capacity after what he did against the Dolphins. I thought he played well against the Dolphins, but that's just me. I could have been tripping. So yeah. Anyway, I digress. Anything else y'all want to add?
I mean, we have a lot to look forward to because the scouting combine, of course, that starts like February 23rd. That's 11 days away.
Mm-hmm.
So to Ed's point, we can start talking about the whole logo and the spear and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We can start previewing the combines, some stuff like that. We can even start to take some guesses as to who's going to do the best at each positions.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, the week after that, we can review the combine and stuff like that. And then soon after that, March 9th, legal tampering period. So we can start to do free agency preview before that. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, as that's going on, we can start to do reviews of what's going on in free agency. So, like, it's about to be a really fun, like, next month for sure, a month and a half.
Yeah, and once the combine hit, it feels like everything gets accelerated.
Yeah.
Because everything starts to move at warp speed from a draft perspective. Then free agency hits. Remember, combine usually signals the time when trades start to happen. Like AJ Brown, I think he's getting traded from Philadelphia, and I think he's going to end up. I think he's going to New England. To be honest with you, I think Vrabel's coming to get his boy. And
that's the time when everybody's together in one place. GMs, head coaches, coordinators, scouts, everybody's together. That's literally when the trades happen, to your point.
That's when we got Debo, right?
Yep.
So we literally got Debo on like day 3 of the combine. So anything could happen. So looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it. Indeed. And next episode, we will definitely talk uniforms, the logo, all of that stuff, because so much has come out surrounding that. and you see what they're doing, all the imagery, everything that they're posting. You see they're dropping breadcrumbs at this point. Like you can pick them up if you want, you can leave them or just follow them. But we see where it's heading. We can see where it's heading. So we'll talk about that for sure on the next show. But
oh, you got
anything
gear
else?
sale right before we go. Actually, he just
Okay, just drop in.
Yeah.
Ed, you know what you got to do, Ed.
What's up, so he says, Kings all love from Lefty Nation. Just saw Sewell Cravens at Zaxby wearing golden cheese gray yoga pants with swivel grape loafers. Tragic.
Not golden cheese gray. How do you go from golden cheese to gray? Like,
what did Sewell Cravens do?
he was just being Sewell Cravens. That's enough. That's enough. How did he catch a stray? Like, okay, yeah, that was random, but Sewell Cravens could catch a stray just for being Sewell Cravens. So,
golden cheese gray.
Golden cheese gray is classic gear cell, right? Golden cheese gray. Never change, gear cell. Never change, man. Shout out to gear cell for the dime. We really truly do appreciate you. Perfect way to end the show, man. So with that said, we will glide to the side, allow you guys to get back to whatever it was you were doing before we rudely interrupted. Sorry for the tardiness today. You know it happens, man. First of all, whatever time we say we showing up, add 10 to 15 to it. But it's not, look, charge it to our heads and not our hearts, okay? We strive for excellence and being on time. It just never happens. But we always show up. It's just never on time. But we always here. All right, we always show up. We always post. So you got to give us that at least. Anyway, we appreciate y'all holding us down like always. And we look forward to chopping it up with y'all next time. And hopefully the next time we chop it up, it's as a complete foursome as the Kings. Until next time, y'all know what it is, man. If you're coming at these Kings, you best not miss. Shout out to the one and only Gabe, the newest member of the DC Defenders. Shout out to Gabe, man. Hashtag SOTJ. Show him, Ed. Show him. Brian Robinson Jr., you next. All you had to do was sign the cup. Anyway, y'all have a good one. Take care. Peace. Shout out to the whites.